cold. But I got the following. I got 28,000. I got 200,000 on TikTok. How do I monetize these people? I like shoes and I like money. We anathematize you, descending to Hades just to laugh in your face as we see you burning in cold. Gotta figure out, what is your product gonna be? What are you gonna sell people? That's the actual question. We can pussyfoot around and say I wanna have a ministry. But what we're really asking is like, how do I build a business? We anathematize you, descending to Hades just to laugh in your face as we see you burning in cold.
I'm more thinking, what is my bank account going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years?
I need 7 figures. I need 7 figures! I would love to be in a position someday where I just have F-U money. Let him be. We anathematize you, descending to Hades just to laugh in your face as we see you burning in cold. Yeah! Go in peace, you know what to do. Start your own church, going back to the first century. We call it Business Church.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How we doing today? We got a different camera angle, different lighting. I had to move my my desk a little further back into the room, so hopefully this looks okay for you guys. But we got so much going on over the weekend. It's crazy. Hey, we got a Cleve raid. Thank you, Cleve. Appreciate that, Ben, my man. So you can see I got some icons that came in here. That's my patron right there. I guess I could probably change the focus so you guys can see. Ah, yes. My patron, Saint Alexander of Alexandria, and the patron of the channel, per Father Stephen DeYoung, Saint Dumitru Staniloae. Dumitru Staniloae, the Romanian sense, or the Romanian pronunciation. There we go. Okay. Do you and Cleve coordinate your stream times? Yes, sometimes. We have like some gentlemen's agreements in order because we don't want to overlap one another. It's just something we talked about because we have like, well, his channel is bigger than mine, but we do. Say the Romanian surname again. Dumitru Staniloae. Sfântul Dumitru Staniloae. There you go. Or Dumitru Staniloi. Yeah, 12-hour streaming coming. God, I hope not. So David Wood, our friend, thinks that he can go around slandering orthodoxy and our friend Jay Dyer, the emperor of Wigzantium, and get away with it. Dude, why does my hair look chalked? Did I look like this all day? What on earth? So we'll go through a little bit of what happened. If you guys came from Cleve stream, you guys probably know the gist already of what's going on. Hey, we got some super chats. Hold up. Let me answer these first. Contemporary Compendium, 7 months. Thank you, man. BB said to send his love. Or anathematize me, baby. Sorry, I was reading the next one. Nectario said BB said to send his love. Thank you. I had that in my mind while I was reading this. Anathematize me, baby. Well, if I could be anathema for you guys to achieve, is the focus off, dude? You guys to be saved. Like Paul said, hopefully I can show that love for everyone. I think that's a little better. The Nectario is $5. BB said to send his love. And $20 from Zach. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Soren. Bet. We got the Aussies up in here. Doesn't Israel just love everyone? You know, I wish they did. Wish the country Israel did. Now, the true Israel, the church, we do love everyone. And you saw that in the discussion between Pageau and Ortlund, which we will also get to that here shortly. So let's get to what happened. So you guys all know that I had this debate with what's his face, with JP Uncut, and hopefully the audio is better last time. My last stream, the audio was a little chalked. I think this time it'll be a little better. Let me know if it's weird. I had this debate with JP Uncut, and he brought up an Origin quote. And then I brought up another Origin quote to rebut his Origin quote. Right? And then apparently he has an alliance with Jake the Muslim Metaphysician of all people. Of all people, he gets Jake on his channel to try to refute me, because I guess he can't do it on his own. He needs some help. So he goes on X, and here's what he said. He goes, so Mahler and JP Uncut, this is J-Love. He says, so Mahler and JP Uncut brought on Jake the Muslim to help them against Alex and Jay Dyer and Orthodoxy as a whole. But Jake was stressing that any Trinitarian using Origin, just as JP did, to support their position is stupid, because he wasn't an Orthodox Trinitarian. Evangelicals resorting to platforming and teaming up with Muslims, you cannot make this up. That's true. This is too ridiculous for somebody to make up. So let's see what Jake had to say, and then I responded on Twitter, but I should probably reiterate my response here on a video because they have the video as well. So let's hear Jake the Muslim Metaphysician, his critiques of me, apparently. Apparently they're of me. That's a hint, they're not. They actually end up being of JP.
And I know this was kind of a sticking point a little bit between you guys. What does prayer mean? How do we define it? This is part of the confusion with Origin. He says, but if we accept prayer in its full meaning and in its true fullest understanding, we may not even pray to any begotten being, not even to Christ himself, but only to the God and Father of all, to whom our Savior both prayed himself, as we have already instanced, and teaches us to pray.
So you guys remember that at the beginning when I was defining the word pray as ask, I made it a point to say there are many different Hebrew terms and many different Greek terms for the word pray. It's not only to ask, it's to make supplication, thanksgiving, prayer. And then there are terms that you use for prayer you give only to God. And there are terms that you use like on a gradation, on a scale, to human beings, to created creatures. What this translator did was they took all of those terms and they actually separated them into different English terms. Whereas in, for example, the King James Version, you're going to see the word pray for all of those, like supplication, request, prayer. You're going to see the English word pray for all of those, and they use it as a blanket term. The translator who translated this Origin quote uses different terms like request, supplication, thanksgiving, and prayer. This translator reserves only for the highest kind of prayer given only to God. So he makes a distinction between different kinds of prayers, right? And that's what he's referring to in this passage, Origin, is that highest kind of prayer that is offered only to God.
So he's saying You cannot even, in prayer in its fullest sense of the meaning, which just shows that he was not an Orthodox Trinitarian, and that's why I cover it in my book, and I'll show you this. I'll show you how other church fathers, there was an entire council that condemned Origen specifically on this point about not accepting prayer to the Son.
So yeah, I don't go to Origen to argue anything other than Origen didn't pray to saints. That's the once you get into
that's the funny thing. Origen, it boggles my.
Listen, why is he going to Origen at all? Why is he going to Origen at all? This is the same thing that I've been saying with all of these Protestant evangelical apologists. All of them have to go to the bad guys of history. All of them. You saw it with the other Paul. You saw it with Metaphysics Mike. You saw it with Aaron Gallagher. Literally every single one of them have to go to the bad guys of history in order to make their points. It's ridiculous, and it should be like the biggest, like, hello, wake up, good morning to you ever.
But let me read this for you, Jake. Let me read this for you, because you know this.
Or let's say I'll pick on the Roman Catholics a little bit too. If you have to say that Cyril of Alexandria and Ephesus was wrong, isn't that a wake-up call that you have the Chaldean Roman Catholic Church here talking about the anaphora to Nestorius? Like, wake up, people. Hello.
Origen was the worst person for somebody like Alex to go to, because not only is there confusion with him regarding saint veneration and praying prayers to the saints, there's confusion with him even praying to the Son.
That's what. But let me get
the very next paragraph. He makes it even clearer, right? He says, "For when he has heard."
By the way, that's why I didn't go to Origen. I used him as rebuttal evidence against JP's use of Origen, because this is funny, because everything that Jake is saying about me using Origen actually applies to JP, dude. Like, what a blowback, honestly. Like,
heard one say, "Teach us to pray." He's speaking about now the Son, Christ. He does not teach men to pray to himself, but to the Father, saying, "Our Father in heaven," and so on. For if, as is shown elsewhere, the Son is other than the Father in being and essence, that's why it's in my book, because it's directly related. He does not believe that the Son and the Father have the same essence. He was a subordinationist. Then he says prayer is to be either made to the Son and not the Father, or to both, or to the Father alone. So he gives you different options. And then by the end of it, he concludes that prayer is supposed to be only to the Father. Let me just, I do think he preserves the letter. I don't want to read too much, but I'm going to show you what the basic condemnations are. So here it is. The books of Origen have been read before a council of bishops and unanimously condemned. The following are his chief errors, mainly found in his, and the book being referred to in Greek is on first principles. And he lists a bunch of things, right? Now, the first one shows his subordinationism. The Son compared with us is truth, but compared with the Father, he is falsehood. Obviously, Christians would accept this. Yeah. But here's the key main point. He had a lot of other heretical beliefs.
Yeah, so notice this number 3. This is what Jake is going to say. And Jake is a smart person. I'm not saying he's a dummy. I mean, I think hopefully his spiritual blindness would be taken away, that he would become an Orthodox Christian. I think he would be a wonderful apologist and a wonderful testimony if he were to come to the true faith. But his main point is this point 3 right here. It says, Origen taught we ought to pray to the Father alone and not the Son. Again, this is referring to the highest kind of prayer that we even recognize today in the Orthodox Church. The way you pray to God the Father and God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, the way you pray to God, you're not going to pray in that way to like other created beings, because it's just inappropriate, right? We recognize this in the liturgy and in our prayer books. So, yeah, this is a proper condemnation against Origen, that he taught to pray to the Father alone and not to the Son, but he's talking about that category of prayer that is the highest category, not these other lower categories of prayer, which you'll see in my response here in a second.
Beliefs about eschatology and souls prior to creation of the world and that kind of thing. But the key point here is, look, 3, we ought to pray to the Father alone, not the Son. So this is showing, this entire council of bishops in a letter that's preserved by Jerome is saying Origen was unanimously condemned, and there's 8 different points here. But the third point is exactly what I'm saying. We ought to pray to the Father alone. Real quick, Origen's like the worst person to go to on the prayer because there's even question about.
Did you hear that, JP? Your own guest says that Origen is the worst person to go to because he doesn't pray to the Son. He's anti-Trinitarian. He says that for Trinitarians, this is the worst person to go to. And JP is claiming to be a Trinitarian. It's like, what a horrible blowback against JP for this.
About him praying to accepting prayers directly to the Son. You get what I'm saying?
No, facts. And that's why most of the time it'll be funny. You'll speak to like debates with the O's and they'll just throw him. He's a heretic. And I was like, well, bro, you brought him up. Why are you throwing him under the bus now? Or Catholics will straight up say, yeah, we could do him later, but we can use something.
Baller also destroying JP Uncut. Who brought him up? JP Uncut brought him up, dude.
I was like, oh, well, pick and choose what you like. Now this portion. Go ahead. Though. You want to say?
I have a couple more passages if you guys would just let me get.
Yeah, so that's what Jake had to say. Here is basically my response, which I think summarizes the whole thing. Ah, shoot, I closed it. Hold up. Here we go. My response basically summarizes this entire thing. So, first of all, JP used Origen as affirmative evidence, not me. I used Origen as rebuttal evidence. I never went to Origen to prove my case. I went to Origen to rebut JP's use of Origen because it doesn't help him. In fact, if at all, if you're going to use him as a historical witness, he would help me. Second, the excerpt that I cited, which is attached, shows Origen differentiating between different kinds of prayer. Here's a different translation of that quote that I used in the debate. It says, now request and intercession and thanksgiving, these three forms of prayer, it is not out of place to offer even to men. It is not out of place to offer request, intercession, and thanksgiving, even to offer that even to men. The two latter, intercession and thanksgiving, not only to saintly men, but also to others. But request to saints alone. Request to saints alone, should some Paul or Peter appear, to benefit us by making us what? Hold up. Worth to obtain the authority which has been given to them to forgive sins. With this addition, indeed, that even should a man not be a saint and we have wronged him, we are permitted our becoming conscious of our sin against him to make request even of such that he extend pardon to us who have wronged him. So it's okay to ask for things from the saints, from other human beings, right? So that's the first point, okay? Well, I guess my second point in this thing. Now, if you go on, he goes, I even said in the debate, Origen is fine with offering lower kinds of prayer to humans, which we just read. His error is in offering the highest kind of prayer to the Father only and not the Son. Third, and this is important here, my argument that Origen is referring to departed saints is absolutely a plausible reading. You know how I know this? Because I came to this conclusion independently, and then when I went to go look at what other people had to say, like Perry Robinson, he agreed with me, right? So let's pull up this one. In Origen's discussion of prayer, he distinguishes the kind of prayer that should be offered to God alone and the kind of prayer that should be offered to humans. Remember that prayer is any kind of asking. This is from Perry Robinson's website, Energetic Procession. Among the prayers that can be offered to humans, the kinds of prayer that should be offered to only saints, which could mean Christians alive on earth or Christians departed, is supplication, while the kinds of prayer that can be offered to all people are plea and thanksgiving. He's probably using a different translation, but you get the idea that there are three categories that you can offer to humans, and then there's a category that you can offer to saints, and then there's the highest category which you offer to God alone. The context is ambiguous about whether Origen means by saints the living or the departed. He uses saints in both senses depending on context. Now this part is really important here. 4 factors contribute to the conclusion that he is talking about departed saints. First, he clearly teaches that departed saints can pray for us. Second, he speaks as though it is difficult to find saints of the kind he is discussing, implying that it is not merely normal Christians he is talking about. Third, he mentions Peter and Paul as examples of the kind of difficult to find saints, and they are indeed deceased and lived a holy life, implying that it is Christians of the deceased and holy variety that are hard to find, but permissible to pray to. Fourth, he speaks of how these saints may benefit us and make us worthy to attain authority for the forgiveness of sins. This suggests the power or authority that they make available is spiritual strength to overcome the power of sin. Again, this could not just be a request made to any Christian. Perhaps this power for forgiveness could be a reference to absolution by a priest, but given the mention of Peter and Paul, this is not likely. So, this is not just me. Oh, and also, by the way, you know who else agrees with me on this? Michael Garden agrees with me on this. Alex Orthodoxy, great answer. Re exactly what the issue is with Origen on not offering the highest kind of prayer to the Son. Origen does show that Christians could conceive of addressing a category of requests to human patrons. And yes, this Origen quote requires some dancing around in order to deny it is talking about prayer to the departed. Okay, so a bunch of people that are smarter than me agree with me on this, right? If JP Uncut went to an actual Christian scholar like Perry Robinson, he would have known this passage can reasonably be understood to refer to offering lesser kinds of prayer to departed saints, which is also attached. We just went through this. In sum, instead of going to a Christian scholar, JP Uncut went to Jake the Muslim Metaphysician, a Muslim apologist, just to try and get points on the board against Orthodox Christians. I'm telling you, these people hate Orthodox Christians, and it's true. They can't stand us. They seethe and they burn at the sight of us. Like, it's unreal how much they hate us. Like, it's crazy. Ruslan and David Wood, come pick up your boy. He's cooked. Remember, this whole debate happened because of what was going on between, like, Jay and Ruslan, and then JP was, like, Ruslan's lapdog, so it was like, yeah, I'll go take a debate against JP. I'll discredit him real quick. Jay, you go get Ruslan, right? Was the kind of the thing going on here, right? But then, like, Ruslan Just totally ran. After 4 times saying that he would debate Jay, dude, freaking booked it. He ran for the hills, dude. He ran for the hills and got out of here. It's unreal. Unknown says, hey, Alex Agan wants to call in today. And that's fine. I'm not prepared to talk about Oriental Orthodoxy. But I guess he can call in if he wants. If he wants to have like an actual debate, I'd prefer that. Chronicle, but if he wants to call in, that's fine. Chronicles Lives $4.99. The irony is that JP platforms Jake, a Muslim, while David Wood attacked Jay for saying bingo and said Jay is teaming up with Muslims. I know. David Wood, you are a hypocrite. Woe to you, hypocrites. What does Jesus have to say about hypocrites? Unreal. He's unwilling to call out his side for like far more egregious behavior, but he's going to publicly try to come after Jay. He's going to publicly try to come after Jay for her saying bingo, agreeing to a matter of fact from a Muslim. Not even talking about theology at that point. Meanwhile, here's your boy, your lapdog, JP, bringing on a Muslim to talk about theology. About theology. Dude. So, anyway, now we have this drama going on between David Wood and Jay. If you guys know, like 2 streams ago, I covered this, where Jay said that he's going to be stepping back from theological debate and apologetics for the time being, because he's more interested in like other things at this time, and he thinks that like the whole landscape has become like a little bit too much. So he said he's stepping back. David Wood came out and he challenged Jay to a debate now that he has very publicly said that he's stepping back from these debates. And it really just strikes me as like, oh, well, now that Jay is stepping back, now I have the guts to come out and be like, okay, Jay, let's do it. Because he knows that Jay is not going to do it. So, of course, he's going to put himself out there and say, yes, okay, I'll debate Jay now. So he knows he's not going to do it because Jay is retired. So he has no fear anymore to go out and like put out these challenges. It's ridiculous. So here we have what Jay said in response to David Wood. So David Wood, and we'll react to his video here in a moment because it's like utterly ridiculous, the things that he's saying. This man is like out of his mind. Utter hypocrite and coward, David Wood. I put myself out there to debate him. David Erhan put himself out there to debate him. Excuse me. Neither of us are lightweights. I don't think so. I mean, compared to Jay, everybody can seem lightweight. But I think David and myself, we know what we're talking about. I think maybe Ben Luigi put himself out there too. So, like, no shortage of people to talk to him about this. But here Jay says, David Wood can't say after 20 years of apologetics whether he believes in Protestant basics or what church converts are supposed to attend. That's like, this blows my mind right here. How are you going to go evangelize Muslims and not know where to send them? Like, oh, just believe in your heart that Jesus is God. And like, okay, but that has a lot of entailments, dude. You don't just stop there. 20 years of apologetics. He doesn't know what church to send these like poor people to. And just learned about Orthodoxy a couple of weeks ago. That's another good point, is that it doesn't make sense that he would feel confident to debate Jay now because what? He talked to Father Peter and Ben Luigi and Fearless Truth and like, that's it. You know, I messaged Ridvan because David Wood has me blocked. I said, Ridvan, if you want myself or Father Stephen to go on there. Actually, no, I think I said just Father Stephen. I said, Ridvan, if you want Father Stephen to go on there, I have his contact info. I can hook you up. He said, yes, thank you. So I know Ridvan received it. It's likely David probably knows about it. He didn't want to have Father Stephen on there. Everything Father Peter said went right over David's head. Father Stephen would make him look like a fool. Like a fool. He'd make him look like he doesn't know anything. Which he doesn't about Orthodoxy. So after just learning about Orthodoxy a couple of weeks ago, now wants to debate icons after declining my debate offers. In my opinion, he's only doing it to make me look bad and contradict myself. Yeah, Jay is spot on here. And then this was eventually Jay's response where he said, I like this idea. Since I retired from debating tards, if David Wood can do a couple of debates with Orthodox and not get demolished, which he will, which if he debates me, he would get totally demolished. I will demolish you, David. Then I'll consider it. Until then, he's in the obvious tard bin. So He's making David run the gauntlet here and, run up at least a little bit of a resume before he debates Jay, which is like, yes, he should do that because Jay is better than me. No offense, David. He's better than David, too. Jay is the top guy. He would demolish. David would easily. 2 months from Ortho Cards. Thank you. Cleave Raid. Protect your hairlines. Protect your hairlines. Hair grow. Kenneth Copeland formula. Thank you. Zach with the 20 gifted, bruh. You have unlocked the soundboard. Thank you for the 20 gifted, man.
What is my bank account going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years? I need 7 figures. I need 7 figures.
And because of as a honorable, because Cleve was mentioned, I got this in my head. Thank you, man, for the 20 gifted.
How do I monetize these people? You know what I mean? How do I monetize these people?
Thank you. We got $5 from Alfseneric. Thank you very much. Glory to God. And $20 from Byzantine Melvin. How much to kick Johanan forever? Literally fights with everyone in the chat every stream and is calling Origin a saint. Okay, I have a little bit more tolerance for Johanan because he called into Kelly Powers that one time after Andrew. He had that dialogue with Andrew, and Andrew had like a really good hypothetical, and it was like, if let's assume hypothetically that the apostles had disavowed St. Paul and all of his teachings and said that he's not in continuity, that he's making stuff up, that he never actually had this vision of Christ, that he never actually learned to Christ. Should we listen to Paul or listen to the apostles? And Kelly Powers was totally stumped. He had no idea how to respond to that. And he totally kicked the can on that hypothetical. He never answered. And Johanan is the first one who calls in after that conversation was over. And he goes, hey, Kelly, I think Andrew made a good point with that hypothetical. And I think we would have to go with the apostles on that one, not St. Paul. And Kelly Powers gets rid of him so fast. He's like, thank you. That's a good point. Next caller. He just moves on. So I have a little more tolerance for Johanan recently. Otherwise, usually I'd time him out for 5 minutes and then he'd get the picture after that. But thank you for the $20. Johanan, behave, by the way. If I get another complaint, that's not good for you. So please behave in the chat. $5, Noah Schumacher. David Wood said in a stream a few weeks back that he was going to take 6 months to study. I do remember him saying that, actually. Good point. Thank you for bringing that back to my attention. I do remember him saying that he was going to take like 6 months or something like that. He said in a stream a few weeks back that he was going to take 6 months to study orthodoxy before debating it. Now he's ready to debate icons. That's an excellent question. Excellent question. Alex, can you play that Johan clip? Bet. Oh, let me find it. That was so funny. I think it's the last time that Kelly Powers had Andrew Wilson on, right? I will play it, dude. It was funny. What's Kelly Powers? He's Berean perspective, right? Yeah, 3 days ago, this one. Andrew was clean shaven. Hold on, I'm finding the... I found it. Here it is. It was actually this was quite enjoyable, I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy seeing this. So I kind of want to go back a little bit. So where was the... I'm going to pull up the transcript here. Was... Hey, here. Oh, it's going through all the Q&A. I forgot. Let's see, what is this? Like 224? Oh, I think this is the hypothetical.
Yeah, it's very different.
Oh, no, it's got to be before this. I think here.
Yeah.
Because you believed them this whole time, up until this point, where they're now...
Okay.
This is my question to you. Their
that's my
claim
question
is
back.
this. His
Yeah.
claim is, I saw Jesus, I'm an
Right.
apostle. But the
Right.
original apostles of Jesus,
Yeah.
who you now believe,
Yeah.
because you believed them this whole time, up
Yeah.
until this point, where
Right.
they're now saying Paul's not an apostle.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about
It
this?
says, stop. They say, no, we have revelation that he's not an apostle. Who would you believe and why?
Was it them just claiming that he didn't have an experience with Jesus Christ? Is that all they're claiming?
They're claiming that they've had direct revelation.
And what did he do that was made
There's
him?
no deviation in his behavior.
So he looked like he was a real apostle, was teaching the true gospel, and people were getting saved and healed, but somehow he's not a true apostle.
Well,
That's what I'm
the
hearing?
saved and healed you weren't there for, so you don't know that for sure.
Well, I wasn't there for
This is
Peter and
just
Paul.
this is simply reputational. But
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point in the hypothetical, you have followed the apostles. You do believe their message. You're a follower. But they now denounce Paul. They say, no, Paul's not an actual apostle. We've had revelation. Paul says they're liars. I did have revelation. Who would you believe and why?
Yeah, so Andrew's point here is that there's a normative authority in the church that you have to listen to, right? You see Kelly Powers is doing anything but answering this question, and he keeps on kicking the can down the line here.
In that scenario, it's hard to say, to be honest with you, because we're not there. I wasn't there. So it's hard to say.
Finally,
So his objection is basically a calls for speculation. The thing is, every hypothetical calls for speculation. So you'd have to say, like, well, subject to this being a speculative question, I would think that blah, blah, blah. And you can just qualify your answer, right? But then Johanan calls in. Somebody tell me when the timestamp for Johanan. Anyway, Johanan catches on to this. And he's like the first one that calls in, dude. I thought I'd like died.
Let's do that. There we go. So saved. Okay. All right. We have somebody. All right. Hey, Jonathan, welcome. Or Johanan, sorry.
Hello.
Thank you.
I thought both you guys did great. I just had a question because the issue of if the apostles had denied Paul, I think we would have had to go with the apostles. I know it's kind of a hard bullet to bite, but if if that really was what happened, I don't think we can just leave all the apostles at that point. You know, I know it's hypothetical, but
It's a hard hypothetical for sure.
it is.
All right. Thanks for coming up, man.
All right, thank
Have a
you.
good one. Bye-bye.
And he kicks him right away because Johanan gives the right answer. Dude, I died when I saw it. So I have like a little more respect for Johanan, dude. That was funny. I was watching Jim Bob's reaction stream to this. He was watch partying the whole thing, and then I saw Johanan call on, and I was like, dude, that's the guy. That's Spider-Man, dude. We got $10 from Bruce Wilkie. I've noticed many people attack icons when they first critique orthodoxy. Yeah, because probably they watched that Gavin Ortlund video and they think they're on like solid footing. And then they debate someone like Jay or David who's going to bring up the theology of icons. And it's like, it's just a consistent application of Trinitarian theology, or somebody like me that's going to look for the types in the Old Testament and try to argue from like precedent in history. And David, I think, is an all-arounder. Like, he'll argue theology and precedent in history. He says, I've noticed many people attack icons first and they critique orthodoxy, not sure if it's laziness or they actually think they have a gotcha. Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think they have a gotcha. But thank you for the $10, Bruce. I do think it's because they have a gotcha. But anyway, so there's also another revelation. We've learned that Mahler from JP's channel is doing communion via Discord online, dude. It doesn't get worse than these people, dude. Like, the memes make themselves and they parody themselves. We don't even have to do it. We just have to point the camera in their direction and they will refute to themselves, dude. So here's a screenshot from their actual Discord server. Communion now in the general voice chat. Everyone, Communion Eucharist at 3:15 EST, pull up. And then somebody made this AI art of like grape flavored high C and saltine crackers. Curiously, this keyboard looks a bit like mine and it's got the monster there. But like, dude, the memes write themselves. I'm telling you, we don't even have to. We just have to point the camera in their direction, wait for them to do something stupid. It'll take 5 minutes. Like, it's ridiculous, man. I don't even know how to approach this anymore. Like, David Chudd has a PhD in Gavin Ortlund videos. This is what I suspect. Yes, I think that he he did like some surface level research without looking at the best that the other side has to offer. I remember my debate with the other Paul, that was like such a limited time window, right? I agreed to like every single evidentiary limitation in that debate, where it was like, I argued like almost exclusively from the Bible, dude. There's like a little bit of archaeology sprinkled in there, but he didn't want to debate the theology of it, which I think the theology of it is a bit of a slam dunk, in my opinion. So he cut out theology, he cut out like a lot of history, and he limited to like the apostolic and like immediately post-apostolic period. So imagine if like I had all of the handicaps off on that debate. Like he wouldn't stand a chance. Paul didn't stand a chance. David Wood won't stand a chance either. So this is where we're at now. Anyway, let's see. So David Wood, he blocked me on Twitter, but I issued many challenges and I retweeted like many people that were in his comment section saying, hey, Alex Orthodoxy is open to this debate. Go talk to him. I saw that David Erhan commented. David Wood, we are all ready, able, eager, and willing to have this debate with you. Where are you, dude? Where you are MIA? Where are you? You're like in a UFO spaceship, gone somewhere, like disappeared, just gone. Poof. He's gone. Nobody knows where he is. Suddenly there's me, Ben Luigi, David Erhan. Where'd he go? Where is he? David Wood, where are you? He's gone. Let's debate, dude. I'm here. Let's debate. We can do your rules. That's fine. I would prefer a formal format, so that way everybody can get their questions in, everybody can get their statements in, and then the audience can decide, you can decide, whatever. But if you want to do a dialogue, fine, dude. That's fine. We'll do your format. You don't have to be so scared. You don't have to be so scared, dude. So anyway, he posts a video. Debate challenge to Jay Dyer. Mind you, Jay has been like retired for days at this point.
Hey, Jay Dyer, I heard you're retired. You posted on X, riding the line between talking theology, doing debates, and all the other issues like geopolitics, lit, satire has been an odd thing.
Okay, we know that.
You on the true church. I'm not allowed to focus on refuting Islam and sharing the gospel with Muslims. People like me can't be trusted at all until we debate the true church. So, as of last...
Because you have nowhere to send them to, dummy. Like, hello? You have Avery sending people to mosques. Or not mosques, I'm sorry, synagogues. Messianic synagogues. Somebody clip that, take it out of context. Avery is sending people to Messianic synagogues, dude. So is JP Uncut. You know what the right answer is when you get a super chat that says, hey, JP Uncut, which synagogue should I go to? The answer is none. We're Christians. You go to a church, not a synagogue. Jeez Louise.
Month, the most important topic in online debate, according to you and the entire Ortho Dweeb dynasty, is the true church. Yet,
yes, because that's prior to theology. The church that you attend, that's the theology that you sign on to. Hello.
Here we are just a month later, and you do a complete 180 and proclaim religion is authentically at the parish level, not online anyway. It seems as if online theology debate is pretty much done.
Which we already covered this. That is correct. There is no online orthodoxy. There's apologetics and debate and discussion and dialogue, talking about dogmatics, sometimes talking about orthodox living. But orthodoxy is sacramental, dude. It's sacramental. You have to go to the church and participate in the sacraments.
How was the true church the topic that mattered most last month, whereas now it's something that shouldn't be debated online, and online theology debate is done?
He didn't say that it's not something that should be debated online.
How did Jay Dyer and the Dork Lords go from, we demand everyone debate us on this topic because it's so important, to, we're not interested in debating this because it's not really important, in 1 month? Then, just to clarify, Jay posted a follow-up. To be clear, I'm retiring from religious debates. Lol. Nothing else. Yeah, I hate to have to exercise my veto power here, but that's going to be a no-go on the retirement, Jay. No party, no cake, no gold-plated watch, no retirement for the geek gladiators.
I think Jay has done more than enough. This last debate, he had to put up with Pastor Shelley, of all people. I mean, that checked him out quite a bit. I remember when he called into my stream to like talk about how he was feeling after that, and he did not feel good about that debate, dude. So I'm not surprised. Anyway, he's gonna call us dork lords. All right, dude, I'm right here. Where are you? Where are you? If you think my channel's too small, go to David. He has a bigger channel. Where? Poof. He's a ghost.
Because we have quite a bit of unfinished business. Hard to believe it was just last month that the Ortho Bros started helping the Dawa Bros. Here's a recap for everyone who missed it. The perpetual toddlers known as the online Ortho Bros were attacking Avery, aka GodLogic, because at the end of one of his live streams, he sent his viewers to his friend Life's live stream, and at the end of Life's live stream, Life sent his viewers to JP's live stream, and JP was criticizing Eastern Orthodoxy. So there's
Yeah, it was one of Avery's channels, and the guy that was hosting Avery's channel sent the guys to JP, who was like literally trying to convert to deconvert, I don't know, to dissuade people from holy orthodoxy. So meanwhile, Avery is over here trying to, steer clear of it. He also didn't say anything about this. He never objected to Life sending people to JP Uncut, who was actively dissuading people from orthodoxy. He never said like, dude, my bad, this is not my typical MO. I don't try to send people there. He didn't say anything. Also, if you guys saw Cleve's coverage of it, it's like it's not controversial to say that he's a grifter at this point, dude. These super chats are funny. I'll answer some super chats here. $5 from Qtard. The ingredients of grape drink: purple, sugar, and Jesus. You guys are funny. 2 pounds, it seems, from Viva la Kahar. They send people to the Messianics to get the snip. That's right. Snip, snip. Like, who's that guy? Young Don. Got the snip, snip, dude. Literally the first heresy, Judaizing. Ghoul FX 9849, $5. It's like challenging LeBron to a 1v1 to prove you're good at basketball. Like, you haven't even proved you can beat a middle school player yet. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, Jay Dyer's been debating this stuff for over a decade. I've been debating for a long time, like professionally in my trade, but I've been debating theology for, my first formal debate was in January against Yassi. So not that long. When are you debating that whiny girl from Lioness? Which whiny girl? Can you clarify in the chat? Sam Farag or Kelly Powers? Kelly Powers is, I think, so Sam Farag is this week on the 18th, boys and girls. Ortho Ribs and Ortho Bros. On the 18th on Modern Day Debates, I'm debating Samuel Farag. I think it was, I forgot, I think it was the 26th that I'm debating Kelly Powers on Jim Bob's channel. We moved the date up like a few days or something. Yeah.
the shin bone's connected to the jawbone, and Avery was guilty of attacking Eastern Orthodoxy via some weird orthobro mutilation of the transitive property. The Dawa Bros saw this as the perfect opportunity to enlist some useful idiots in their war against Avery.
Young Don, more like dong. I gotta have the funniest chat on YouTube. There's no way. I prefer ortho, bruh. I made it up and I'm sticking to it. Word. Stick to it. Any Orthodox book suggestions that wouldn't be too technical to be an audiobook? I already have all of Father Stephen DeYoung's books. I got 7 Audible credits. Clark Carlton is not technical if that's available in audiobook. Yeah, that's who I would say if it's available. I was looking at my bookshelf. I don't really know what else is available. I don't really mess with audiobooks. I don't really know what else is available. Thank you for the $5. Did Linus comment? Asked her to clarify, but don't use Audible. Okay. Ortho ribs then, ortho ribs now, ortho ribs forever. There's a majority and minority opinion in the chat, it seems. Thank you, Compendium, for the $2. By the way, let me plug this. I'm going to plug the clips channels real quick. So we have Compendium, who's doing clips. We have Patristic Clips, who's doing clips. We have Pseudo Steven, who's doing clips. There's also a Soren Clips channel now. Let me see if I can find them. I shared them in the community tab. They have like 50 something subscribers. I think you guys should go. Or 100 subscribers now. Dude, these guys are. You're going up fast. Here it is, Soren Clips. If you guys want to check it out, you guys do not need to ask me for permission for Clips channels. Just go ahead if you want to and do your thing. I'm not going to go around like copyright striking everyone. That is not my purpose here. So if you guys want to see more clips, go to Soren Clips. Soren Clips 1. They have 99 subscribers. And again, I did share them in the community tab.
Keep in mind, the goal of Dawagandists isn't to successfully refute a criticism. Their goal is to discredit the person who's raising the criticism so Muslims don't listen to him. So one of their favorite tactics for the past 2 decades, I know because I've been here the entire time, is to get a Christian to agree with their condemnation of whichever Christian is doing the most damage to Dawa so that they can say to their fellow Muslims, see, even his fellow Christians say he's bad. Stay away from
This is just irrelevant because we're not fellow Christians.
that guy. With this low-level manipulation tactic in mind, the Orthodox Muslim, aka Orthoducklips, posted, "My 2 cents on what's going on with the Orthobros and Avery. Avery is not interested in your true church. As a matter of fact, he doesn't give a flying donkey's ass about any church being true. He wants to appeal to as many Christians from all denominations to make as much money as possible. This is why he's friends with Sam, yet friends with Sam's arch enemy, David Wood."
I mean, aren't we vindicated with the whole lawsuit thing? Like, as soon as Avery was like, he had this GoFundMe for his lawsuit, and Cleve talked about this, and Jay talked about this. At this point, this is common knowledge. I don't think I have to cover this. Is that Avery had this GoFundMe for the lawsuit, and he got up enough money to defend himself in this lawsuit. Lawsuit was dropped. It ended up not going through. And guess what? Hey, guys, I'm going to open up the GoFundMe again just so we can show off how much money I'm making to Muhammad Hijab or whoever the bad guy was there, dude. Like, everybody is saying that he's a great... And most importantly, did he ever deny this? Did he ever deny this? It was dropped. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me word for word. But as far as I know, the lawsuit is not proceeding. I thought it was not proceeding. Is it still going? I thought... Bro, I'm about to call up Cleve right now. Of all people, he would know. Plug in my thing. I'm texting Cleve. Yo, did that lawsuit against Avery get dropped? I'm pretty sure it did, dude. Anyway, whether it did or whether it didn't, he kept the GoFundMe going. Even after he hit his goal. Oh, Cleve says he has no idea. So, I thought he did for some reason. I don't know. I thought I saw like on a boomer speech to text. I almost always send voice notes now because it's just... My mic sounds funny. What? Oh, the gain went up on it. Test, test, test. We good? Test, 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 test. Don't you have some sort of special database powers? Usually, yeah. Did I fix it? All right, bet. Thank you, guys. Alex, you need some variation on the Boston Legal opening theme song for your channel. Lean into it, counselor. Bet. Maybe I should, dude. Although I do like, dude, the super chats. I do like just making fun of people in my songs, too. like in a cheeky, jovial kind of way, you know, like not actually to like disparage them. Like this Anathema song was like literally the lyrics were just ripped right out of those Ruslan videos, word for word. So if you have an objection to those lyrics, go complain to Ruslan, right? Thank you for the $5. $5 from Ortho Bro. I don't listen to folks who have a narrow set eyes and crooked glasses. Instant disqualification for David Wood. $2 from Iron Giant Man. Why does Captain Chomo think he's owed a debate? Why does Captain Chomo think he's owed a debate? I don't know, dude. Channel size, probably. Thing is, you can have a big channel, still say dumb things. Literally. Well, like that's clavicular. I think PewDiePie is like base now, right? I don't know. But like all the big channels say stupid things. You don't have to be like being successful at YouTube does not equal having good theology, not even close. David said this now after Jay retired from debating. Says a lot about David that he didn't have the guts to say it while Jay was still debating. I think that's our point. And also, like, there's no way that he had enough time to feel comfortable at this point to debate Jay on icons or on anything for that matter. There's absolutely no way that he has enough now. So like, it's clearly a bluff. If he was really that interested in proving that orthodoxy is inconsistent or has like the same problems that any other theological system has, I'm available. David's available. There are plenty of Orthodox apologists that are available. So I think you're right. You hit it right on the head, Mike. 4 months from It's the Shanzi. Thank you, Shanzi, for your 4-month membership. No theology, me and my Bible, David Wood. That's a great conjunction there. No theology, me and my Bible, David Wood has become the Dawa guy he's so against. Good point. That's an excellent point. It's the same tactics, even to the point of having chomo or chemo history. Can't make this stuff up. That's right. You can't. It's reality is stranger than fiction, dude. I'm telling you. One shot with $10. Apparently, David Wood said in his streams he was planning on debating, despite declining on X in May, which he did, by the way. I forgot about that. But didn't utilize appropriate lanes to confirm anything. Overall, this is greasy weasel behavior. 100%. Absolutely. Be a man and be forthright and be like, I want to debate an Orthodox person. I think you guys are inconsistent. You have the same problems that everybody else does in their theological system. Let's hash it out. Be a man. Dude, this stuff like bugs me so much about these people that like me, an attorney, I have to come out here and be like, hey, be forthright in your speech. Me, I have to tell them this. Anyway, all right, let's get back to this video because he says some other crazy things.
He's friends with the Ortho Bros, but also friends with anti-Ortho Bros. This guy is a grifter. Wake up. So, Duck Lips smeared a little peanut butter on the trap for the Ortho Bro Beta Brigade, and they fell for it. Hook, line, and Dyer. Jay replied, bingo. EFF Ortho Duck Lips lately? He's kind of crashing out.
We suck, bro. We suck so bad. The Dawa scene has sucked for a long.
Yo, at least they have self-awareness, though. Like, the anti-Islamianity guys don't have the self-awareness to say that they suck in this area. They're great at debating Islam. I give David Wood all the respect for making Muslims look like fools. You have my respect. All those guys. Avery, Inspiring Philosophy. Freaking David Wood. They all have my respect for that. They do a great job making them look like utter fools. But you're wrong on this issue. And it's an important one. It is a major, this is not a minor secondary issue. The church you subscribe to defines your theology.
Long time, bro.
It certainly does suck.
Somebody's got to say it. We suck.
Check on your friend, Jay. Check on your friend. So, Jay agreed with Ortho Duck Lips, and Muslims have been glazing Jay for the cosign, as they always do when the Christians they aren't worried about help them attack the Christians they are worried about. Dr. Malik, a Muslim who doxed my family earlier this year, and threatened my wife, and threatened to kill me, and tries to get Christians killed, replied, "It's about time Jay Dyer said this about logic. The grifting from him, and then David Wood trying to play the race card. The race card? Pathetic." And we have Daniel Hakikachu.
Okay, but so is this, if Jay says bingo to someone else, is that supporting every single statement this person made in their entire life on Twitter? This is so stupid. How are you supposed to keep people accountable for their entire life? You don't even do that on the witness stand. You don't even do that in unaliving trial. It's not fair to keep people accountable to someone for their whole life. That's so ridiculous.
And David
accidentally hit back.
Help them attack the Christians they are worried about. Doxer Malik, a Muslim who doxed my family earlier this year and threatened my wife and threatened to kill me, and drifting from him. And then David Wood trying to play the race card. The race card?
Yeah, that's horrible. Dr. Malik did that. I don't know the details of that situation, but agreeing to this, to this one proposition is not agreement to everything else this guy ever did in his entire life. That's crazy.
Pathetic. And we have Daniel Hakikachu, the world's leading defender of child marriage and first cousin marriage, declaring his support for Jay. Definitely.
Yeah, that's funny. That debate he had with Andrew Wilson is just something else, dude.
Not a useful idiot, Dyer. I agree with Jay Dyer. God logic is a grifter. In my debate with him, I asked Avery if he...
I mean, again, we've kind of been vindicated on these points.
...wise became huge Jay Dyer fans.
Hey, shout out Jay Dyer, man. Jay Dyer called Logic a grifter. Or are you going to join Jay Dyer and tell him that Logic is a grifter? It took a while for me to get all of this set up. But now Sam's on board.
So David Wood is like, this is a basic fallacy that I'm shocked a PhD in philosophy apparently doesn't know. This is a hasty generalization, dude. Like, Jay is agreeing to one proposition. These Muslims are agreeing to one proposition that Jay says. This is not blanket approval of one side and the other side. That is so stupid.
Jay Dyer's on board.
Bro, all I can say is the Christian Ummah's falling apart one apologist at a time, man.
Which is like, dude, doesn't David Wood have such unclean hands now for this kind of argument when the own person that he was supporting, JP, brought on Jake the Muslim Metaphysician, like one of the top, if not the top Muslim apologist right now, like theology-wise, to try to debunk me, David Wood, you hypocrite. Go, you have unclean hands, dude. Like, I get it. We're all hypocrites to a degree, but this is egregious, dude. This is horrible.
First we got Sam flipping on him. Now we got Jay Dyer flipping. Bryce Jay's ready to flip.
Why is Jay Dyer going after David Wood so hard? Jay Dyer responds and says, bingo. Can you believe it? Jay Dyer literally said, well, everything Orthodox Muslim.
Where does it? I'm going to open the call-ins when I get to the Gavin section, so I'll have people in the queue. My bad. I don't mean to keep you guys waiting, but I want to address this stuff because, like, I've realized that if I go too far on tangents, this is not conducive for people that only listen or, you know, throughout the day. So I have to segment the streams a little better. So I'm going to do call-ins at the end.
Muslims is saying about Logic is true. Can you believe that? Everything Orthodox Muslim is saying about Logic, Jay Dyer said bingo. Sam sees the light. Jay Dyer sees the light.
Okay, Muslims love the rest of the Orthobros as well, because now they can ask the Orthobros to agree with whatever they're saying about whoever is destroying Dawah, and the Orthobros will fall for it every single time.
No, that's not true. We don't agree to everything that they say about Dawah. We just think they don't have their theology sorted out. We think you do a great job against Muslims. We're saying you do a horrible job pointing them to the right church, which is not your independent Bible church. That's wrong.
Muslims just take the screenshots.
Hey, all the Ortho bros in the chat, is Logic grifting? Yes or no? Is Logic grifting? Ortho bros. Chat that. Hey, guys, the Orthodox
and the nerdcore nobodies called the Orthobros, who view people like Avery and inspiring philosophy and me as common enemies. After Jay started helping the Dawah bros attack Avery, I wanted to know if this was mainly a Jay thing, or if it was an Orthobro thing, or if it was an Eastern Orthodox thing. Because Jay Dyer can do something that other Orthobros wouldn't condone, and Orthobros can do something that the wider Eastern Orthodox community wouldn't condone. We don't want to blame everyone for something that a particular person or a particular subgroup does. So I had a friendly discussion with Andrew Wilson on whether Orthodox Christians should be helping Dawah bros attack Christians. Andrew argued,
thank you, Ortho Ribs and Ortho Bros. I will go through the super chats here. Alex Jag, $5. Jay said he'd debate David if he doesn't get destroyed in a debate by you, Erhan, or Kai from Orthodox Shahada. Yeah, he's got to work his way up the Mortal Kombat tournament rungs. Kai from Orthodox Shahada would do. I'm looking at the lineup. He would not survive. Dude, Kai is slept on a little bit, to be honest. He's very smart. Movie pitch. God Logic and David Wood. Dude, where's my church? Dude, that reminds me of this meme. Actually, I had this meme pulled up because I thought it was like so apt to the situation. It's like, what church do you belong to? The Protestants are like running away. Why are you running away from a simple question? It's so true, dude. It's so true. They never want to say, dude, because they're either too ashamed or they don't go to church. One or the other. One or the other, dude. They're either too ashamed or they don't go to church. $5 from Wigzantium. Wigzantium. He acts like Jay hasn't debated the top guys in Islam. Like, yeah, like Daniel and also Jake the Muslim Metaphysician. What is David even saying? He's lost his mind, dude. I'm telling you. He's just This whole, every time anybody has an encounter with the Ortho Bros, they freaking lose it, dog. Like, somebody said that they get lobotomized after. Like, somebody on Twitter said that, like, as soon as they have a debate with the Ortho Bros, they just act with an Ortho Bro, whatever. They just act so stupid after. Like, they always crash, almost always crash out on Twitter. It was literally, I gotta give credit to Aaron Gallagher and Metaphysics Mike. Aaron had, like, a few videos responding to me, like, whatever, I don't care. But otherwise, they'll crash out. Like, nothing too horrible, like, beyond the pale of the ordinary damage control after a bad debate. Like, I gotta give it to him. Right? But yeah, everybody loses their mind, dude. Zen Cognito, $10. David is slimy. He 100% pulled the race card by insinuating Jay was coming after God Logic because I forgot about that. Good point. He said that, oh, isn't it just a coincidence he's going after the one black YouTuber? It's like, no, he's not. It's not because he's black. Not even close, dude. Jay was coming after God Logic because he was more popular and decided to throw in that he's a black apologist as if that was the slightest bit relevant. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that because he said the exact same thing about David Wood and Inspiring Philosophy and Ruslan. And they're all different backgrounds, and he said the same thing about all of them. Thank you for the donation. Noah Schumacher, $5. If saying bingo means you fully support Islam, wouldn't JP fully agreeing with Jake on iconoclasm mean that JP fully supports Islam? Prot logic. I think that if you follow Dr. David Wood's horrible logic to its conclusion, that is what you end up with. I think you are correct, Noah, on that one. Thank you for the donation. Viva la Kahar, Grift Logic. I need 7 figures. You have unlocked the soundboard of...
What is my bank account going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years? I need 7 figures. I need 7 figures.
Righteousness has been filthy rags before God, Daddy. That's going to send you straight to hell, amen.
He even referenced the Andrew Wilson cousin marriage line. Yeah. Yeah, he did. That was a good debate. We reacted to that one. That is some of Andrew Wilson's best. Honestly, he is so great at that kind of thing. But when he's in his wheelhouse, Andrew Wilson is really unstoppable.
That it's perfectly reasonable for Ortho Bros to form an alliance with Dawa Bros as long as there's a good reason for doing so. The problem is the Ortho Bros...
There's no alliance, you dummy.
...do believe there's a good reason to help the Dawa Bros attack people like Avery and other Dawa busters. Namely, if Avery isn't leading Muslims to the true church, he's just making things worse.
I mean, he's not making things any better necessarily. Like, I guess if he could open them up to Trinitarianism, that's a step in the right direction. But I mean, if you're starting with Islam, isn't Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness and Seventh-day Adventist, like, aren't these all steps in the right direction? Hey, Zach, dropping the fat $50 super chat.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Thank you. Example for David or Protz. Sam Shamoon is also calling out David Wood and apostate prophet. Agreeing with Sam's criticisms of David Wood doesn't mean we agree with Sam's ecclesiology and doctrine of the apostolic churches. That is absolutely right. This, you can agree to one proposition. That doesn't mean you sign on to that person's entire ideology. This is like earlier than Logic 101. I don't even know what to call it. This is just common sense, dude. If you cannot put this together, like, you can agree with one proposition from a person. That doesn't mean you agree with everything that person said. This is so crazy. And I remember when this was happening, I was like, no way David Wood is serious about this. No way he's serious. This is a person with a doctoral level degree. This is the critical thinking and reasoning in this country of a man with a doctoral level degree. Pre-Logic 101. I don't know, man. I know I sound harsh at this time, but this whole thing is like, it's gone way too far. It's pretty ridiculous. Dog-headed man, $5. Jay is the best black Orthodox apologist there is. I know. How can they pull a race card on the BIPOC E-Diva extraordinaire, Jay Dyer, an emperor of Wixantium? How dare they? Don't they know who he is? You gotta put some respect. Put some respect on the emperor of Wixantium, dog. Jay is the best black Orthodox apologist there is. Word. That's what I like, Avery. He needs to sort out his ecclesiology because this is prior to Trinitarian theology. Like, I don't know. We got some things that we got to fix over here. This is not good. There's plenty of work to do in the apologetic scene. Yeah, Jay is taking some time off. That doesn't mean that we should take some time off. There's still plenty of work to do. Like, plenty of it. Anyway, to JP and David Wood, and JP bringing on this Muslim guy, and David Wood, you hypocrite, not calling out your own guy when he brings on a Muslim to talk about theology and church history instead of an actual Christian scholar. You stinking hypocrite. Here is what I have for you. David Wood is a Fordham graduate. Why am I not surprised? If you guys are unaware, again, Cleve, the best Orthodox news channel there is, talked about how like Fordham has this like program that is sponsored by Jesuits that is like under the guise of Eastern Orthodoxy and like promoting certain ideas within Eastern Orthodoxy. And Fordham is the school that hosts this thing. That's where David Wood went. This school that's trying to undermine Holy Orthodoxy, or host this program that's trying to undermine Holy Orthodoxy. $2 from Compendium saying the same thing. He got his doctorate from Fordham University. I'm telling you, dude, reality is stranger than fiction. Bingo equals an alliance. David sounding more and more hysterical every day. Dude, I'm telling you, they sound lobotomized. Every interaction these people have with Orthodox Christians, they end up coming like totally hysterical. Totally hysterical. $5 from Bitter Klinger. A Muslim fella said, "It's a beautiful day today." To me, that's a good point. I was a little hesitant to agree with him after watching. You should not, because that means you sign on to every single idea and his entire theology if you agree with one proposition that he says. That's funny, dude. Thank you for the $5. $10 from Zach. Anathema, eh?
Anathema, eh?
That's what JP and David Wood, if you didn't hear it the first time. $5 from Ozzy. David Wood is the character model for the Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics. I'm not gonna lie, independent of you sending me this super chat, I did kind of have a connection for that, dude. He does kind of look like them, eh? That said, I try to stay away from commenting on people's appearances because they have no shortage of material to comment on here as well. But I did also make that connection. Well, Emmanuel, 100 pesos. By sending this one super chat, I am now in agreement with all you have ever said. Moreover, I now know all your skills. However, I may not be as prepared as David Wood, who spent a week researching stuff. That's exactly my point, dude. Spot on. Thank you for the donation, man. Jerome, $2. J is short for J. Marquavius. J. Marquavius. J. Marquavius. Yeah, I didn't know that. But that makes sense, though, because he's the BIPOC E-diva. Facts.
Andrew Wilson pointed this out in a cartoon. Someone sent him this cartoon. We've got an unbeliever on fire, a Christian evangelist.
Seriously going through this stuff. This is so pedantic. I thought this was going to be like good material. Yeah, so this is what they're comparing us to. The point is, though, this guy, the first firefighter saying, "Don't worry, here comes the water of life," he's not actually a Christian. He doesn't actually have a hose. So this is not analogous to what we're saying. Not even close. Yeah, so again, this is not analogous. This is the same point he's trying to make. He's saying that they're bringing the gospel to people and we're cutting them at their ankles so they can't go bring the gospel to people. You don't have the gospel. You don't have the gospel. You're in the wrong church. You have to be in a canonical Orthodox church. You cannot go make up your own church. You are in schism. You are living in open sin. Schism is a sin. It says so in the Bible. Galatians 5:19 through 21. Romans, what is it, 16 or 15 says those who cause divisions in the church, they don't serve Jesus, they serve their own belly. You're not allowed to cause schism or division. Saint Ignatius, 107 AD. Some say a little earlier than that. If you follow someone who makes a schism, how can you inherit the kingdom of God? How can you? And all of Protestantism is based on schism, dog. All of Protestantism.
Orthodox Christians preach the gospel to unbelievers, we're actually harming the unbelievers because we're not sending them to the true church. Should the Orthobros just stand by and watch as we pour gasoline on people who are already on fire? Of course not. They should stop us, even if it means helping the Dawa clowns.
So again, this is not analogous.
Here's more on the Orthobro reasoning. Orthodox Shahada writes, Apologetics Roadshow. That's me. Be sure to subscribe. I praise Jay Dyer for calling out your BS and the BS of others like you. Firstly,
based. First of all, Kai, well done. I wish he would share some of my tweets, but he can't because maybe he chose Orthodox Shahada because he's trying to make a Dawa connection or something. This guy, Kai, has had the name Orthodox Shahada for like years and years and years. It's crazy. But I mean, unblock me, David, you hypocrite, you stinking hypocrite. Unblock me right now. For real.
You are not a Christian. We are not siding with Mohammedans any more than we side with you. We side with Christ and his church, to which neither you nor the Mohammedans belong. So,
yeah, can we get a based in the chat for Orthodox Shahada, or W's in the chat for Orthodox Shahada, or based in the chat for Orthodox Shahada? W or based, either will do. For Kai, they do excellent work. They have a really good, they're the ones with the worship documentary. I thought that was a really good one. That was an excellent one that they did. And just in general, their content. They hosted that debate between Jake and Doc Branson like a little while ago. Excellent material from Orthodox Shahada.
So there are only two categories of people, those inside the Orthodox Church and those outside the Orthodox Church. Protestants and Catholics are outside the Orthodox Church in the same category with Muslims. Secondly, the historical understanding of who is given the appellation Christian has always been restricted to those who are permitted sacramental participation within the boundaries of the Orthodox Church. That we Orthodox refer to non-Orthodox as Christian is only a means to distinguish you in a broader and general context from Jews, Mohammedans, Buddhists, Hindus, etc. I, of course,
based. Well done, Kai. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Am not permitted sacramental participation within the boundaries of the Orthodox Church.
Because you're not properly a Christian.
Hence, Orthodox Christians would only call me a Christian in the very loose sense needed to distinguish me from atheists or Hindus.
Yes, colloquially. And that's it.
Hindus. Apart from that, it doesn't matter how much I believe in Jesus, in his death for sins, in his resurrection, in his divine nature. It's all completely irrelevant because I'm not Eastern Orthodox.
Yes, you're not in the church. Wake up, David. Yes, this is what we're saying. You are in grave danger, my friend. Join Christ Church.
Jay clearly has a similar attitude. AP asked him about the 21 Coptic martyrs who were slaughtered in 2015 in Libya. It was actually 20 Coptic Christians and a migrant worker from Ghana. Jay replied, I don't know what happened. I don't call them martyrs any more than I call Hezbollah leaders.
So you're saying he doesn't know? What's wrong with that?
Muslims.
Should you say you know when you don't know? Look, this is something they teach you in litigation, is that in cross-examination, you have basically 5 answers you can give. Yes, no, I don't know, I don't remember, or it depends. Yes, no, I don't know, I don't remember, or it depends. So when you guys hear me saying, I don't know in a cross-examination, sometimes it's appropriate to say, I don't know. So when Jay here says, I don't know, that's a totally fine answer. There's nothing wrong with that answer. What is he supposed to say? He knows when he doesn't know? That's worse.
Now, to be fair, not all EO Christians think like this. Some will say that we are Christians. We just don't have the fullness of Christianity because we're not in the true church. Some will say, hey, we don't get to say whether God is working in some person's life, even if that person is outside the Orthodox Church. So There are some different perspectives, but based on the little bit I've seen from the councils, there seems to be a pretty harsh view of anyone outside the Orthodox Church. But maybe I'll get to that in the future. So this all erupted last month. The Orthobros announced, in effect, that either...
Yes, we do know they're in danger. That is why, during the liturgy, we offer the Eucharist for the whole world. Because we care about them and we love them. That's why we pray for the souls of the departed. Because we don't want anyone to go to hell or eternal torment. We want everyone to go to paradise. We have the most inclusive, loving God out of all of them. Like when John says that God is love, we take that seriously, dude. Thank you, Octavian, my beloved mod, for reminding me that I have to actually be a YouTuber and help the stats on my channel. If you guys like the video, go ahead and like the video. Hit a subscribe. We're on our way. I am right on, not quite on Cleve's tails, but I feel like the rate that I'm going, I might catch up to him one of these days. So if you guys want to subscribe, please go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert bell if you guys want to know when I go live. Follow me on Twitter also. That's where I'm most active. I also have an Instagram account. The links for those should be in the description.
Either we had to divert our attention to debating the true church, or they would harass us when we're doing anything else. I pointed out that I wasn't interested, and that I've got other things to do, and that I've never said 2 words about Eastern Orthodoxy. But they wouldn't listen. They said I'm not interested in truth if I'm not debating them on the true church. Then I reluctantly agreed to start preparing to debate their champion. Weird thing was, when I said I would start preparing for a debate with their champion, they began screaming, "No, debate him now."
Okay, you can't blame us when you have like a billion mixed messages and you're saying like on Twitter that you're not going to debate him. You're going to spend 6 months to learn orthodoxy, and then you're saying something else and you're like, oh, I'm going to debate him right now. And now a few weeks after studying the orthodoxy, you think that you're prepared to debate Jay Dyer has been debating this stuff for over 10 years. Right after he's retired, after he said he doesn't want to do these debates anymore because they're so low tier. Now you're going to come with low tier arguments that he's heard 20 times before because you just started learning this stuff a week ago. There's no way you know the best that both sides have to offer on these issues. There's no way.
Which really, really made me not trust these guys. That's another classic Dawa tactic. The Dawa bros don't want to debate people who've carefully studied a topic. They want to catch people off guard. And the Ortho bros are no different. If you say, hey,
when did he say he was going to debate? That's too many pronouns, dude. Who? When did he ever say he would debate him? Again, too many pronouns. When did Jay said that he would debate David? 800 live viewers. Hey, I didn't even realize. Thank you. If you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks. David can speedrun, understand. I mean, maybe he can. I don't know. Maybe he can. Imagine someone emails every Baptist, evangelical, Calvinist at Alex's channel asking the pastor to rebut everything because it's causing ecclesial anxiety. Yikes. I remember when Alex had 1,000 subs, good times. That wasn't that long ago, dude. That was like 7 months ago. 8 months ago, maybe. Subscribe. Father Stephen going on Gavin Ortlund's channel on Wednesday, by the way. Yes, that's true. Guys, keep an eye out. Father Stephen is going to go explain a lot of these documents to Dr. Stephen is going to Dr. Ortlund's channel on Wednesday to explain all of these documents that apparently he is misunderstanding, which he is. But, okay, let's go back to...
hey, I've never studied any of this. They say, oh, then it's time for you to debate. If you say, okay, I'll debate, but first I'll take some time to study, they say, if you study, you're a coward. Debate now if you're a man. Not a good sign.
I mean, isn't he?
I really don't like talking about subjects I've never studied, let alone debating them.
Now a few weeks is enough, I guess.
And if the subject is a denomination of Christianity, I really, really don't want to talk about it or debate it until I've done some studying, because 1, I don't want to misrepresent a Christian denomination, and 2, I don't want to criticize a position I haven't thought about carefully because it may turn out to be the correct position.
Is Father Stephen Alex's dad? You might think so by looking at some of our interactions. He's one of the smartest people I ever met. Isn't it Dr. Father Stephen? I think it's Doctor. His I don't know if he'd like me saying that, actually. He has more degrees than you think. And they're graduate degrees.
So I ignored the demands to debate without preparation, and I invited some Eastern Orthodox Christians on my channel for some friendly discussions just to introduce me to the issues. Now I've got things narrowed down to the main areas of disagreements. I was hoping to have some discussions and Q&As about those topics in particular, all to prepare for a debate with the king of the Orthobros, Jay Dyer. But the EO guys are canceling, so it looks like I'm going to have to skip ahead to debating. But now, after he caused this mess just a month ago, Jay suddenly announces that he's retiring. How exactly does that work? How do you demand last month that we all stop what we're doing and debate the true church, because debating the true church is what really matters, then turn around a month later and proclaim, I would rather focus on other topics I find interesting, and religion is authentically at the parish level, not on...
Yeah, what's wrong with that? You have plenty of Orthodox people to debate who have the same objection. Me, Kai, Erhan.
...line anyway. Seems as if online theology debate is pretty much done. Onward to producing fun content on the other subjects. I would rather focus on...
Yeah, that's a good point. You caused this mess, David. You caused this mess. Let me prepare for a debate I never confirmed that I would do. Yeah. You caused this mess for crashing out when Jay called Avery a grifter. In fact, you didn't have to say anything about that. You involved yourself. $5 from In the Filth. David read the Bible in prison and has been wearing it as camo and lets him live comfy life as a lizard person. Why doesn't AP defend orthodoxy on David Wood? Yes, this is interesting to me because he has an Orthodox person, apparently, within his immediate circle who was like one of his closest friends. So I'm surprised that he didn't do a stream with AP describing something. I don't think he's actually received as an Orthodox Christian. So maybe that makes sense that it wouldn't be on stream, but at least like maybe a private conversation. AP is like, again, I disagree with some of his more public stances on certain countries, but I don't think he's a stupid person. I think AP is a smart person. So I don't see why they haven't had a private conversation on that. That does bring up a red flag for me. $2 from D Jules. Not a lick of scriptures has been provided. This is true. This is all just whining and complaining, this whole video. We'll move on. I don't want to subject you guys to any more of this. Quote tweeting the Muslim was top rage baiting from Jay, because nearly all prod apologists have been running away from the ecclesiology ecumenism grift question. Yeah, yes, and I've been saying it for months and months now. They're all ecumenists, dude, all of them. And Jay has been saying it, and Cleve has been saying it. We've all been saying it. They're all ecumenists, dude. Roman Catholics are ecumenists per Vatican II. Ortlund's church hired an open homosexual as their head pastor. Membership from Brandon Bailey. Thank you. $5 from D Jules. Because he's a grown man. Thanks for the $5. David Balsa Wood, $2. David Balsa Wood. Thank you. Leningrad, $5. Why do they care so much about who does or doesn't consider them Christian? They're like Mormons who clutch their pearls the same way. Like, yes, I am a Christian. I promise I'm a Christian. Respect my identity. I identify as Christian. Crazy, dude. Did he actually? I have to go. Was that the Q&A one? I watched like maybe a quarter of it. I got to go listen to the rest of it. Did you see Father Stephen drop the need 7 figures in the latest of Lord of Spirits? People need to get with it with Father Stephen. He drops like so many references. He was alluding to the Tucker Carlson interview like weeks before it dropped on Lord of Spirits, and because I had a bit of an inside scoop, I was able to catch all of them. It was easier for me, but he hints at a lot of things that are going on the Lord of Spirits podcast, so people don't know. Okay, so anyway, this is the whole thing with David Wood. He's going to complain about Jay saying bingo on some Muslim guy who's saying that Avery is a grifter on just that one proposition, saying that he's a grifter because he doesn't have his ecclesiology sorted out. He's trying to appeal to all kinds of Christians to maximize income, which it appears that he is based on literally undisputed facts. He never disputed these facts. So we have that David Wood, utter hypocrite for not calling out JP for bringing on one of the top Muslim apologists on his channel to try to debunk me, to talk to him on something about theology and church fathers and church history. Origen is not a church father. Maybe I should take that back. About church history in theology. He brought on Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, to try to take apart me. And he was wrong anyway. Totally ineffective. So, David, you hypocrite, let's debate. Anyway, moving on, we also have a culmination between Gavin Ortlund and Jonathan Pageau. I do want to share my thoughts on that briefly, because I know I think both Cleve and Jay have talked about this.
Hello, Gavin. Hey, Jonathan. We are here. Woohoo! Here we are. And so it's, you know, this is.
So, of course, we're going to watch Jonathan's version. You can do the thumbs up. Oh, it was only like 39 minutes that it starts actually getting to the meat of the issue, right? Frickin' finally, somebody, Jonathan, I love you, dude. Somebody held Gavin to his dumb Calvinism.
I'm going to do something because, and you can tell me after. I want to read something that you wrote before we get into the sin of Jerusalem. All right.
Can I say quickly before, though, my opinion of Gavin has slightly increased. Alex is the fiercest teddy bear in the orthosphere. Gavin's video has timestamps. Yeah, but I don't want to give him the the view. Gavin is slightly increased in my view for having Jonathan and Father Stephen on, because there provides the possibility that he's going to be debunked on his own channel. Somebody talking smack about Father Stephen. Mods in the chat, use your discretion, please. Always use your discretion. I trust you guys if somebody is being inappropriate in the chat. We allow disagreements, but like spamming and like straight up slander and disparaging of someone's, especially clergy's character, that is not acceptable. So I'm glad that Gavin is having these people that disagree on his channel. My opinion of him has slightly increased on this. This shows that he's not afraid to have his opinion challenged by intelligent people. So I respect Ortlund for these interviews. Yeah, it's 100% a possibility that Pageau or Father Stephen could make him look like a total ignoramus. That's a total possibility, and this is a risk that Gavin is willing to take. So I do respect him for talking to these people and putting it on his channel.
And we'll just leave it as a respectful disagreement about how to categorize that earlier time period. We don't have to solve that now. I will, because I'm reading a book about it right now. At some point, I will put out a video just on the 9th century and say more about that in another context.
Yeah. All right. So let's read. So this is a text you wrote in 2009.
2009?
Got it from your blog.
Oh yeah, this is the thing. Gavin was 2009. Okay, but do you disagree with what you're saying? Yeah, it's old. Fine. But do you disagree with what you're saying in here? Or not? He never addresses that. He never says that he doesn't believe this anymore, or that he has a different view at this point.
Dude, I was like a 23-year-old.
Well, I don't know. That it's funny.
Again, irrelevant. What's relevant is whether he still agrees with this opinion today or not.
I was looking for some text, and it was the first thing that Google gave me, and I didn't even ask for you. So I thought this is a nice sign that I should read it. And so in it, you say, Luther, like Calvin, believed in a strong and unflinching doctrine of double predestination. God has eternally decreed some to everlasting life and others to everlasting death, to the praise of his glorious grace and justice. He calls this doctrine strong wine and solid food for the strong. Then you go through how this is to the glory of God. And at the end, you say,
or for Luther.
Yeah. And then you say, finally, Luther's pastoral advice to those struggling with doubts about their election is telling. To weaker Christian, he says, thank God for your torments. They are evidence that God's grace is at work in your heart. And to stronger Christians, Luther encourages them to resign themselves to hell if God wills this. In other words, to so love the glory of God as to be content to be damned, if only it would further the glory of God. Wow. I find this emphasis on the radical centrality of the glory of God gripping. I do not claim to have it mastered, but I want to see more of it. This is strong wine indeed. And so this what you described, this is what a lot of the Synod of Jerusalem is reacting to. And in fact, the Synod of Jerusalem repeats several times in the Synod very strongly that God loves all men, that God desires the salvation of.
I think one thing that Jonathan is trying to get across to Gavin that he doesn't get is that Gavin is looking at these documents and he's looking at just what they say, right? I think that is not the test for what is binding out of a council. By the way, reception is the test for what is binding out of a council and in what manner it is binding. So instead of looking at how are these documents interpreted and applied by the following generations of Orthodox Christians, how were these documents received by the church? How did the church understand them? Gavin is going to these documents and just looking at them on their face to see what they say. That is not good enough. That is not good enough. When you study case law in law school, for example, you're not going to look at just one case about what does it mean to have a contract. There is like an entire progeny of cases that follow that. Same thing with the unaliving babies in the womb and the Roe v. Wade decision. There is a bunch of decisions leading up to that one, and there are many decisions after that one that you need to understand in order to see how this law is applied, right? To see how this case, how these opinions are applied. It's the exact same concept for things like the Council of Jerusalem in 1672. These are in a certain context. They're responding to certain people. They're binding on certain parties that are involved in whatever this dispute is. There's a building up to this council, and then there's how it's applied afterwards. So he's leaving out all of these parts because really when you're looking at councils, what you're applying is a legal analysis. This is not some like looking at the documents on its face and like, oh, it says this, I guess it means this. No, you have to see how it's applied afterwards.
All men. And that when they criticize and when they anathemize this type of doctrine, they do it repeating in the council several times that it is because God wills the salvation of all. So let me read from the Synod of Jerusalem.
Okay, go ahead, and then I'll respond to the point about my old blog
But then
post.
to affirm that the divine will is thus solely and without cause the author of their condemnation, what greater calumny can be fixed upon God? And what greater injury and blasphemy can be offered to the Most High? For that the deity is not tempted with evils, and that he equally wills the salvation of all. Since there is no respect of persons with him, we do know. And that for those who through their own wicked choice and their impenitent heart have become vessels of dishonor, there is, as is just, decreed condemnation, we do confess. But of eternal punishment, of cruelty, of pitilessness, of inhumanity, we never, never say God is the author who tells us that there's joy in heaven for every one sinner that repents. Far be it from us, while we have our senses, thus to believe or to think, and we do subject to an eternal anathema those who say and think such things, and esteem them to be worse than any infidels. And so they do anathemize. And I'll be honest, and I just want to say one last thing, Gavin, is that God that you described, a God whose glory increases through the decree of conscious eternal punishment.
Why is he so quizzical here? This is like not controversial. I did a whole video on unconditional election from their own documents describing what unconditional election entails. It's salvation by decree. This is the historical Baptist view and the historical Calvinist view. You can look at the Westminster Confession or at the London Baptist Confession. They both say the exact same thing about unconditional election. Like, I don't know why he's looking so quizzical here. These people literally try to gaslight us. There was somebody on Twitter, like I remember a few weeks ago, trying to tell me that Baptists believe in the real presence. Are you serious? They believe that the Welch's grape juice and the saltine crackers, that's the body and blood of Christ? No. They never believe that. Stop trying to gaslight us.
Of the creatures that he made in his image. That is the God that I fled when I left the Baptist church. And the God that loves all men, and the God that wants all men to be saved and does everything he can to join them to his love and his glory, that is the God that I found in the Eastern Orthodox Church. And so when I hear you talk about how we're exclusivists and I read the fathers and I see that, yes, they say this is how you're saved. This is the normative way you're saved. And if you have heresy, you are in danger of damnation. You are in danger of hell. But they do it always to preserve that God wants all men to be saved, and not just Christians, and not just, he wants all of creation to be part of his life. And so that is why I think that the Synod of Jerusalem has such strong language.
Okay. Well, I gave you a chance to unfold your thoughts. Could I respond in kind?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, I find it a little strange to go back to that old blog summary. I was in my 20s in seminary, and I was just summarizing a passage about Luther.
Hey, notice what Gavin is not saying. He's not saying that he disagrees with that blog post.
Wasn't stating my views. I was saying, wow, this is really interesting. There was an expostulation of Luther's thought. So I don't know, and actually Calvinism
is it
in
an
general.
appropriate expostulation of Luther's thought? Do you think that it's that because even though either whether you believe it or not,
I think so.
that
But I want to go back to be sure.
Right? You know that
so.
people believe that.
Oh yeah, no, I think it is, and I want to go back just to be sure. Again, it's been 20 years or almost 20, but just to finish, because the reason I asked if I could respond in kind is because I want to get a couple things out here. I think you just said something that touched my heart a moment ago, and you said this is the God you left and the God you found in Orthodoxy. I think.
Okay. Why are we? This is like not personal connection time. I don't understand why we're here. The timestamp for the latest Lord of Spirits recent episode is 102.5. I'll make a note of that. I'll pull it up because I do want to see that. That's pretty funny. I did not make it that far. It looks like I was like 50 minutes in. 102.18 for the 7 figures on Lord of Spirits. All right, bet. I have it pulled up in the background. Actually, I'll just look at it now.
And monasticism still has an orthodoxy today, right? It's very easy for us to get caught up in materialism in the capitalist sense, right? Living in the Western world, right? And just become convinced that we need 7 figures in our bank account, right? But that's not we have this witness of
Father Stephen, you are the best, dude. That is so funny. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Chad. This talk is full of telling body language and furrowed brow maxing from Gavin. Jonathan isn't even an apologist, and Gavin can hardly take the heat. That's a good point. Jonathan is just kind of talking to him like a friend, like, hey, I'm kind of frustrated with how you're portraying our view, especially when your view is this. And you have every reason to to believe something different. Call in just to hit you with the Gavin stare. Gulp. Thank you for the donations, guys. It's pretty ridiculous.
think you and I might find some common ground in what you're getting into there. I also don't want a God who's a monster. And here's the thing. I could agree with.
There you go. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Everything you said about Calvinism for the sake of argument, because I don't think the Synod of Jerusalem, although it's occasioned by that issue among others, Cyril Lucaris had a lot in his confession that was not just about that. The Synod of Jerusalem is lengthy. It targets like 25 different Protestant beliefs. And my concerns, my interest in it are specifically on how it categorizes Protestants as people.
There are no Protestant beliefs. Hey, Neil. Gavin gets hemorrhoid. MMM wiggles. I think I know what you're saying. Gets a little uncomfortable in his seat there. I know what you're saying, dude. Shifting around in the seat for sure. Good to see you, Neil.
People. So I could concede.
Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, there are no Protestant beliefs. All Protestants believe different things, especially if you're a non-denom or evangelical. Right? They literally, I've had them call into my show. I ask them, do you believe everyone has the keys? They say yes. Every single individual Christian has the power of the keys.
Everything you're saying about Calvinism, and that wouldn't really address my worry, which is...
he's saying Jonathan's committing a tu quoque, but I don't think it's a tu quoque. I think it's like what Jonathan is saying is that when you take our view and you look at it in light of your view, in fact, it is much more inclusive than your stupid Calvinism.
What is this? Which is a universally received synod. I've argued this is dogmatically binding for Orthodox. I'm one person who's ever pushed back on that. I've gone to John Meindorf and others who categorize this in the same way. This is a significant testimony. I think it's fair for me.
Yeah, you have, of course, nobody disputes that. Yes. I mean, Gavin said that some people told him differently. Nope, you have to believe the Confession of Dositheus and the Council of Jerusalem in 1672. It's a good council. I don't know why people are so weird about it. I love that council. It says Calvinism is a heresy. That's very good.
Me, when I'm hearing different opinions from contemporary Orthodox Christians, to go to the universally received synod that's explicitly dealing with Protestant theology. And I would like to point to the passages that I'm actually talking about. They have nothing to do with Calvinism. They have to do with Protestants as a class of people, many of whom, of course, are not Calvinists. So I'd like to work through those passages and explain why I find this so grievous, and see if since you've raised a concern that I'm, giving this sort of Protestant text-based approach to these things, I think at the least you can do is be willing to give an alternative approach to them and say how you read this synod and these particular sentences I'd like to work through. Yeah, go ahead. So the categorization of Protestants in the Synod of Jerusalem is as wicked heretics. They are said to be forsaken by the Holy Spirit. They have only darkness and blindness. They are not Christians and not churches, according to Decree 10, because they're outside of the bishop, and the bishop is a canonical Eastern Orthodox bishop. And the whole, that language is not eccentric or a high note in it, it's recurrent. And the whole concluding appeal to the final few sentences is a warning that these who stay outside of the church and do not enter the church will be overtaken by the pains of the heathens and publicans.
True. It's all true.
Now that's from Matthew 18. That language also occurs earlier in the synod, which is in reference to, I believe, hell. Now, when I talk about hell, let me say a word about this. I understand the doctrine of hell can be stated in ways that make God seem like a monster, but we all have to deal, I think it can be defended against that too. Hell is a part of Christian theology. Hell is spoken of by our Lord. It's got to be understood in some kind of way. And when I'm reading these texts in the Synod of Jerusalem about the Protestants, and it is speaking in this way, not Christians, be overtaken by the pains of the heathens and the publicans, that, as I say, Matthew 18, I don't see any qualifications to this or anywhere else at that time. And so what I don't see the Synod of Jerusalem saying is, well, Eastern Orthodoxy is just where we know salvation happens, but we're not passing judgment on the Protestants. I see this as different. That's why I'm pointing the change out.
Pageau's mogging right now. He's like mewing, like Cleve does in the whenever his guests are talking. He's always.
And I will say there is a frustration in being told I'm being disingenuous or misunderstanding deliberately when no one is coming along and saying, well, actually, let me give an alternative gloss to the pains of the heathens and the publicans. Or let me, and I suspect where we'll come down to is you'll probably just want to say, well, this is for normative language, but doesn't deny that Protestants can be saved or something like this. And what I would say is, can you show me anything at the synod itself? Can you document that's actually a distinction they could have recognized? Because they themselves do not qualify this absolute language. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's because it's a synod. The purpose of the synod is to declare that which is true and that which is false. The purpose of a synod is not to talk about the individuals that would make up a group or the individual virtue or values. They are there to deal with teachings and to give warnings about those teachings and to give warnings about if you follow those teachings, if you attach yourself to those errors, if you believe in a God that decrees for people to, let's say, burn eternally in hell for his own glory, that this will lead you into death. Like, this is a dangerous belief that has consequences and will have consequences in your life and will be an obstacle to your transformation. Like, it will have an effect on you. And that's what the synod is saying. It's saying that if you hold on to these heretical beliefs and these heretical practices, then you are in danger. And that is absolutely true. And that is absolutely true that the people, but that again, that is the function of a synod. But that doesn't mean that, again, so a good example would be that in exactly the 17th century, 18th century, there are all these practices. There is still this idea, you mentioned, for example, St. Mark, when I talked about how in the early church, there's this idea of that St. Gregory the Great prayed for the Emperor Trajan and then he was released from hell. And I remember in your video, you said, you can't use that because it's before the 9th century, right? Because
it doesn't disrupt the particular thesis about the 9th and 19th.
So,
which, by the way, Justin from Transfigured Life did a great video showing some opinions of the saints on this between the 9th and the 19th centuries. I showed Seraphim of Sarov, who's like slightly before the 19th century. He's like end of the 18th. And all this word salad is easier to digest if you keep in mind that he's a relativist. That's the thing. He's an ecumenist, like radical ecumenist, dude. He's saying people don't even need to be Calvinist in his view. So, does Ortlund say babies go to hell? I don't know. I think he probably is like the elect babies go to heaven, the elect babies go to hell. That's probably, I would speculate that would be his view. Yeah, Justin, that was a good video, I think, by Justin that he did real quick. Gavin drinks cosmopolitans. That's funny. Yeah, so I think around 1:30, Gavin actually tries to respond to this stuff. Let's see what he has to say.
Areas where, as we're talking again, maybe we could sort of come around together and realize we're kind of coming at it from a different angle. Because surely you're not saying we shouldn't care if other people are saved. I know you don't believe that. So when
the way to deal with that is to be saved. This is the beautiful quote by Saint Seraphim of Sarov. When he says, "Acquire the spirit of peace, and 1,000 around you will be saved." That actually the way to save other people is not to convince them. It's to become in the image of Christ. It's to be a radiant, beautiful image of Christ in the world. That is how you save others. And then they see Christ in you and they desire it. They say, I want that freedom. I want that light, and that is how true salvation is transmitted. I mean, obviously we should talk about Christ to others, but it's way more important to you yourself be transformed than to go around convincing people.
I guess we have a little difference there because I would say both and. I don't see it as an either or. I would say absolute.
Okay, I just shared the call-in link in the chat. Please call in, folks who disagree. We're doing disagreeers tonight. Disagreeers. Folks who disagree. So, I think I put it in the chat. We got evangelicals, Pentecostals, Baptists, Calvinists, non-denoms, Prots, Neoprots. Also add in Unitarians, Roman Catholics who disagree. Please be succinct. Yeah, this is not story time. I'm trying to go to bed at a certain time tonight. We'll go to Agan real quick because he called in right away. I know there's a super chat earlier that said that he wants to call in. What's up, dude?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good to see you. How you doing?
Likewise. Nice to meet you. I haven't met you yet.
It's nice to meet you. I think we spoke before on a Twitter space a while ago.
Oh, yes, you're right about the holy fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not the type of person to do these types of call-ins, so I want to let you know what I'm not here for. I'm not here for embarrassing you. You said you haven't really looked into Oriental Orthodoxy, so I'm not here with a pre-prepared question or topic to talk about. I respect you the most out of anyone really in the orthosphere. I mean that.
Thank you.
And I thought it'd be interesting. I just want to ask you, have you considered Oriental Orthodoxy? If so, from the little things you've seen, what would it take for you to be Oriental Orthodox? And I'm asking that from genuine curiosity.
Well, when I went back and actually looked at like the whole timeline of the church and like kind of reevaluated my worldview, again, it was just the typical things that you hear, like the tertium quid that you have in Miaphysitism. And, you know, the more I looked into it, now I think that there are some serious canonical problems like that Craig Truglia brought up about, you know, the actual succession of the church. And the more that I learn about it, like from, I've talked to Ubi Petrus, there are a bunch of books out there. It seems that there are some serious problems with the continuity in terms of like formal apostolic succession. And Chalcedon, I think, was not as clear cut as some people like to make it out to be. Like, from what I understand, many of the synods that are now non-Chalcedonian had additionally accepted Chalcedon and then later went and reversed it with a reconstituted synod. To me, it's like, again, my analysis is going to be legal. It's going to be historical. It's going to be looking at precedent. And like the philosophy, of course, is important to me. But first of all, I'm looking at continuity, history, and precedent.
That's fair. And because you haven't really looked into this, I'd assume you wouldn't know particular examples to bring up. But I just would want to let you know, really, on Craig's video, we're doing a series on it. We're like 4 episodes in, so I'd recommend you watch that if you're curious on this topic. But yeah, this could be very brief. I'm not here to debate you. I don't want to put you in a tough spot.
Maybe we can set one up in terms of like canonicity or something later down the road, because I want to know the best that both sides have to offer, and I think people want to see it. So I think people have been talking about, you know, me talking about the non-Chalcedonians, and I think people would like to see a good faith debate between the two of us.
Okay,
And you have talent as a debater. I'll hand it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate. All glory to God. You too. I love
I love
a
what
lot
you
of the
did to
stuff you
Need
do.
God, by the way. You made him look like a fool, dude.
That was a fun one. That was unprepared. Yeah. All glory to God.
Yeah.
Well, it was good. I just wanted to ask you, really. I wasn't here to get a gotcha or anything. Once you're ready, you've looked into it. Let's do it cordially. I'd really want to do that with you.
Sure. Maybe we can look at something like, at this point, I do have like a few things I want to do. Like I have a bunch of evangelicals lined up to debate, so I do want to make the most of that. But maybe like the 4th quarter of this year, maybe we can give everybody a Christmas present or something and do Alex Soren versus Hagen around Christmas.
That would be amazing. Okay. Wanted to keep it brief. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Yeah, thanks for calling in. He was very polite, guys. Was I too soft on him? Let me go back to the comments. You can be like, Alex, you let him get away with everything. Alex, you let him get away. So fake, dude. Jim Bob should be the moderator, maybe. Yeah, Egan handled Ryan perfectly. I think he had the I think he had it lined up, the scriptures lined up pretty well. He's bad faith. Here's the thing, is like, what reason do I have to be hostile to him now? Right? I don't have any reason to be hostile to him yet. So like if I don't if I don't have any reason, then I'm not going to. But I think we have so much material out there already. I see you, Jim Bob. Maybe Jim Bob can host. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a reasonable conversation. Alex ran from Hagen. Yeah, you got him. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to better go hard in the actual debate when called for. Well, yeah. Of course. That's the time to do it. So, Andrew, what's up, dude?
Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Hey, so I've really been enjoying your content. I grew up in a Protestant, deeply Protestant. My grandfather was a fire brimstone Baptist preacher, and you know, I find myself in a like an EFCA context right now, and like I love the people that I'm with, like, and doing life with, and everything. And I don't see myself leaving, but like I deeply appreciate your guys' content and Father Stephen. And I just, the more I watch like Gavin and stuff, I'm just, you know, I'm just like, just so like, this is ridiculous. You know, I've watched a lot of Warren McGrew and stuff too. And
yes, Warren is a good friend.
yeah, and so it's just you know, and Will Hess, and so it's been it's caused a lot of friction in my heart where I'm at, but like I just I just know that like PSA is false. Like I feel that, and it's not from some crazy liberal angle, right? And I see what the Orthodox Church has to offer, and you know, it's just so hard because I love everybody I'm around, and I don't want to leave them, and yeah,
do you want Christ Church more, or do you want those relationships more?
Yeah,
I hate to put it into those terms.
I
but
know.
Really,
yeah,
like, I struggled with the same friction. I think that is what it boils down to. And I'm not trying to like you don't have to answer that. I'm not trying to give you an ultimatum or trying to like conversion live on stream. Like that's not my shtick, you know. But I think that is something you ought to consider.
Well, I think it was either, I don't know if it was like Andrew Stephen Damick or if it was or if it was Father Moses. I was listening to one of his streams. It was something about that going to church is for Christ, you know, and like it's not for you or the people that are there. And I thought that was very helpful, like all around, even in, you know, in my context. I was like, okay, I still go for Christ, right? And maybe that's, you know, from your angle, you're gonna push back, right? And I get that. And
because we would say that like pursuing Christ has like many entailments, like that. It also includes like Christ's church and, you know, baptism and the sacraments, like you see in the Bible.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's another thing, like Phil Bray and his book, right? And so yeah, that's just the thing I've been mulling over, and it's really been interesting.
Yeah, I think the community is difficult, but that is something that, you know, over time, those things will heal. Like my family was very against orthodoxy. That's like my extended family as well. Like we had people calling like my in-laws from Romania, like harassing them and being like, how could you let this happen and stuff. It's like, he's an adult, man. He makes his own decisions, you know, so it can be hard for a while, and not just for you. Well, not just for you, but for your loved ones too. But again, like this is the price that you may have to, it's a price you may have to pay for Christ's church. I mean, is there any like specific hang up, or is it really just like the social? Have you been to a liturgy?
I have not yet.
I think you should go, because like there comes a certain point where even for me, it was like there's only so much intellectual data you can gather and so many arguments you can hear. Eventually, to really get the bottom of this, you have to go actually see what's going on. So,
right. And which is interesting.
It seems like you're at that point right now.
Well, my associate pastor even offered to go with me to a divine liturgy. He's a friend. He's a peer. And so
just go.
Yeah. And so I think
go sit in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll not be in anybody's way. Yeah, has he sniffed incense yet? I don't know. As soon as you sniff the incense, that'll be it, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does my hair say it? No.
Well, the chat was saying that you're like the opposite of Cleve with all that hair.
Yeah. That's what I'm cleaving to the hair right now. I'm 35.
Jim Bob says, "Go and convert your whole community."
I don't know how to do that. There's some Calvinists in it.
Yeah. Do you believe in the real presence in the Eucharist? Right.
I mean, I do,
EFCA,
and especially like the end of Phil Bray's book. I mean, that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Have you read his book, The Butcher?
I have not, but I mean,
it's pretty good.
I agree with the sentiments that you are saying.
Yeah. So it's struggle fest, but I love listening to you guys and stuff. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll check in again.
I was gonna say, go to a divine liturgy, call back in, and tell us what you think about it.
Yeah. All right, thanks, bro.
Yeah, bet. Thanks for calling in. Oh, he was gonna say something nice, and I kicked him out. I love you, Andrew. I look forward to you calling back in. God bless you, man. So if we have anybody who's watching, who's in the chat, who disagrees, evangelicals, Pentecostals, Baptists, Calvinists, non-denoms, Prots, Neo-Prots, throw in Unitarians, and Roman Catholics who disagree, call in. Pwn me. Anti-Islamianity guys. Andrew, you're ready. Come see. I got the same vibe from him because I know exactly what he's describing, and I remember being in that exact same place and being like, okay, I'm at the point now where the only time that I can, like, the only thing that I can do now to progress in my understanding of this thing is to just go attend one and see what's going on here. We got $2 from Brother Allen. Got to make 7 figures to afford some real presents. The double entendre there, the play on words. $5 from Leningrad. Are the eternally predestined reprobates his Christian brothers too? I'm glad you brought that up because here's a portion from this video that I did on unconditional election that kind of undermines his view on this. Like, there's no way that he can believe this. Also, guys, is my mic okay? Because I messed around with the volume a little bit. Excuse me. Alex, there aren't any left. Yeah, there aren't any disagreeers. Subvariant Strain says, will be baptized during the Apostles' Fast. He is risen. He is risen indeed. Many years. Evangelicals are trying to sell online by saying that salvation comes. That's not what the Calvingelicals are trying to sell online by saying that salvation comes through faith in Christ alone, or salvation by trusting in Jesus alone.
Trusting in Christ and in his work alone. The gospel is the good news that we can be restored to God through Jesus' death on the cross by simple faith. All you have to do is surrender, collapse in need before Christ, and receive and repent and relinquish, surrender, and follow Jesus. That act, faith in your heart, makes you totally acceptable to God. You're God's child now. You're going to heaven.
As we've seen laid out in the canons of Dort, we see that election is prior to faith. You can't have any faith unless you are elect. Calvinist theologian Herman Bavinck goes into a little bit more detail on this issue, and he says that the decree of reprobation has its the decree of reprobation. Look, this is one of the top Calvinist guys. They love Herman Bavinck, right? Because his views are slightly more nuanced. The decree of reprobation has its ultimate ground not in sin, but in the will of God. And what was that thing I quoted earlier? He grants justifying faith to his chosen ones. The decree of election is not prompted by foreseen faith. On the contrary, election is the cause of faith. This is the Calvinist view, dude. I did my research on this already. Gavin, you're not fooling anyone. This gaslighting is not working. Ultimate ground, not in sin and unbelief, but in the will of God. Similarly, there is a causal connection between faith and salvation, but the decree of election is not prompted by foreseen faith. On the contrary, election is the cause of faith. It's pretty clear. This is not a description of salvation by trusting in Jesus. This is salvation by decree. Now, at this point, you might be tempted to say, Alex, why are all those old Dutch Reformed guys that Father Stephen was talking about at the beginning of this? Anyway, if you guys want to learn more about that, I have like a pretty robust analysis from even the Reformed and Calvinist perspective of what unconditional election entails. Like, I did my research on this, guys. Hey, hook a brother up with some decent recipes for fasting days. Chicken is a vegetable for me. Sushi, canned tuna, I don't really have anything else come to mind at this time for the fasting days. But yeah, those are my go-tos usually. Krusty Chuckler, $5. People are starting to realize the aggressive infiltration of liberalism in mainstream Protestantism. Well, Gavin's church hired a man as head pastor who is openly homosexual. I mean, that's like liberalism if I've ever heard it, right? I'm starting catechism this September. God, I think you mean God bless y'all, not godless all, but thank you for the $5. Appreciate it. I find it weird that all these Protestant apologists want to attack EO's faith but won't defend their own faith. And that's exactly what Andrew is calling out lately, right? Is that you guys are not willing to subject your view to scrutiny. $5 from Samurai Phoenix. If Jesus had only had one nature, who exactly died on the cross and what exactly are we consuming in the Eucharist? I think this is something St. Cyril is manifestly clear on, that Christ suffered and died in the flesh and that the divinity is impassible. So you have to have some sort of distinction between the flesh and the divinity. Although St. Cyril is very clear it's a conceptual distinction. Brandon Bailey is here, $5. But would you consider Oriental Orthodoxy for 7 figures? I would not, because the truth is worth more to me than 7 figures. If I wanted that, I'd probably go try to defend Protestantism as a lawyer. But Bush Concepts, $2. Alex hitting the Gav stare. Just quizzical and like... Maybe sometimes when I hear something crazy, but yeah, if you guys have recipes for Anthony Montague in the chat, hook him up in the chat with some recipes. I can flip. Yeah, shrimp. You're allowed to eat shrimp. But all right, we'll just go in order here for the callers. Viva La Kahar, what's up?
Yo, I just want to say I love your channel and I love Cleve's channel as well.
Thank you.
You know, I'm going through quite a hard time right now, and watching your channel and Cleve's channel is really great for me. So thank you for your streams, and please never stop doing this. It helps so many people come to Orthodoxy, and I know many people who really enjoy your content and Cleve's content and Jay's content, and this kind of thing is a lifeblood for a lot of people who are new to Orthodoxy and converting. So I just want to say thank you for everything.
Thank you, man. You're gonna make me blush. I appreciate that very much. It's good to hear that sometimes.
I'm glad. Thank you.
But thanks for calling in, Viva. I appreciate you. That's nice to hear. George, what's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you may tell my accent that I'm a fellow compatriot.
I think you said Serbian?
No, Romanian.
Oh, Romanian. Okay. There was somebody else that called in before with the name George and they were Serbian. So, yeah.
Yes. I'm not necessarily in here to disagree, but your mom said to join.
Yeah. Octavian.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a good man.
I only have a surface level knowledge of this subject. You know,
Yeah. Are you Orthodox?
I am non-practicing, to say.
Okay.
I'm a cradle and not really been to church, and I'm sort of been in between being agnostic, materialist, and practicing.
Okay.
In a loop. And I had, I just asked the question for, which is the reason why Octavian. I would have other questions, but to start with this one, I was seeing that there apparently is some controversy surrounding if the essence energy distinction is a formal, conceptual, or a real one.
It's not just conceptual. It's the same distinction that is between the persons of the Trinity.
And that is a real one? Or?
I think it's one of those in-betweens that Bryce J would know this, because the saint you want to go to is Saint Gennadios Scholarios, who he's the one who really exposits the Orthodox view with scholastic language. So I think he calls it a real formal distinction, but I'm not sure. It's the exact same kind of distinction that you see between the persons. So it's a distinction without separation.
And would you say, for example, that it is compatible with Thomistic views of God?
I don't think that you can say that. I think the Thomistic view, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's just a conceptual distinction between the essence and the energies, not the same kind of distinction that you have between the persons. Formal, actual, yeah, the chat helped me. It's a formal, actual distinction.
Yeah, no, I've just been seeing some Thomists on YouTube saying that, well, this one is compatible, this one is not.
Yeah, Thomas say all kind of stuff. There was a video Wagner did a while ago. I was considering responding to it.
Yes, I think
where he was saying the Cappadocians are actually compatible with the Thomistic view. I don't think that's the case, because
no.
I thought that Wagner was confusing the idiomata, like God in himself and those kinds of characteristics, with the energeia, with God actually acting, like in creation.
So I saw a Wagner video that basically he said, well, Palamas probably is compatible with Thomism, but the Neo-Palamites are blasphemers. And
No, I don't think that's a plausible distinction, because if you see, so like the continuation of St. Palamassus through St. Gennadios Scholarios, and he says that Palamas was right, he just didn't have all the language in the right way to talk about it. But if you, like, for example, the whole dispute between Palamas and Barlaam was because Barlaam disagrees, and Barlaam is the view that the West has, right? So, I mean, if they don't agree with Barlaam, then what is Barlaam arguing for? Like, I don't know. And then if you look at how St. Gennadios exposits St. Palamas's view, it's still in line with St. Palamas. It's still not what Barlaam is saying, which is what the Thomists are saying.
Well, I searched a little, and apparently I was surprised to find that apparently the Catholic Church is not really dogmatized one or like a specific kind of view of God.
I disagree. I will find this for you. Give me one moment. Thomism is the official theology of Catholicism, and I'll give you, in 1 second here, I will give you the I think it's encyclical. Aeterni Patris. It's, hold on. Yeah, the preeminency of the scholastic method and the authority of St. Thomas Aquinas in Aeterni Patris. Aeterni Patris. I'll write it in the chat here. I'll put it in the private chat.
I see, because I actually picked this up idea from Ubi, who did a debate, and he basically said that there was no clear Catholic answer on this. He said this in a response to the Catholic usual attack that, oh, the Orthodox don't have a dogma on contraception or something.
There's no dogma, but there is a consensus among the saints that contraception is not acceptable. But so it's an encyclical, it's Aeterni Patris. So at the very least, this is an ordinary teaching. So every single Roman Catholic does have to believe this, although it is changeable. Like if they want to change this teaching, they can. But it says that the chief and master of all towers the chief and master of all towers, Thomas Aquinas, is the most venerated of the ancient doctors of the church. He restores, with this encyclical, in all earnestness, he exhorts Roman Catholics to restore the golden wisdom of St. Thomas, to spread it far and wide for the defense and beauty of the Catholic faith, for the good of society, for the advantage of all the sciences. The wisdom of St. Thomas, we say, for if anything is taken up with too great subtlety by the scholastic doctors, or too carelessly stated, if there be anything that ill agrees with the discoveries of a later age, or in a word, improbable in whatever way, it does not enter our mind to propose that for imitation to our age. And this is like not that long ago. This is 1879. It more or less makes Thomism like the official stance of the Roman Catholic Church.
I see. May I ask another question?
Yeah, that's a good question.
For example, I was seeing this. I believe that you stated you believe in creationism, like, I don't know if younger creationism or...
I'm open to it still. I don't believe in like Darwinian evolution or macroevolution for that matter.
But like, for example,
but I'm open to an old Earth.
Million years old?
I think it's possible.
Or let me rephrase, or that the 7 days of creation are allegorical, they're not 24 hours, literally, like how we feel time?
That is the consensus of the fathers.
So you're not open to that, just...
It could, okay, when we say allegorical, that doesn't eliminate the possibility that it could be 24-hour days. I'm just saying I don't really think it is.
I see. So, and would you also say that, for example, like 4 billion years old is incompatible with Orthodox Christianity?
I don't see a reason why I ought to think that it's 4 billion years old. I think Blake here in the chat says God could have created the earth aged or something. I've said that before also, that I'm open to, like, I don't see why God could have created a mature universe.
And is, for example, your opposition to evolution simply based on the presupposition that the Bible is true and that the fathers are right, or is there, like, for example, do you see in the argument, let's say the scientific argument, some faults?
Well, I think it's theological and also just irreducible complexity seems to me to be a defeater for evolution.
I see. Would you be open, for example, to do apologetics in Romanian?
I would, dar româna mea e un pic stricată. My Romanian's a little bit broken. Because I was raised in the States. Deci am accent și pot să încerc să vorbesc mai mult în română, dar I need like an editor or somebody to help me.
Well, I'm sure your spiritual father would. I think you'd be doing a lot of good if you would.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that a lot of the Baptists and the Pentecostals, especially in the country of Romania, have been pushing it. Val, my brother.
Well on
Fake
that
Romanian.
note, yes, but to be fair, the issue is that these people also, and I don't want to be mean to them, but they often grow in poorer communities.
What's that?
They often grow in poorer communities.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, I think that's true.
They actually also have, like, among the, let's say, most industrious and well-off people, they have a lot of adherents. They actually do well in certain, like, cities, but
Yeah, in society, yeah.
areas, they are also, it's a big dichotomy. And so I was actually saying that apologetics in Romania is not so much against, right, Catholics or Protestants, but it would be against agnostics and atheists that are, let's say, on the internet more.
Yeah.
And that's, for example, if you would be open to it, I think that's the issue that needs addressed.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yeah.
as you can see with me, I just told you I'm still on the fence with some things, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely open to that.
and
This is not the first time either that I've heard that, like, a lot of Romanians tend towards, like, atheism or agnosticism or something. It'd probably be
Yes.
useful
and
to do some
for
content
example,
on that.
as I said, the online scene is basically non-existent. Like, what
Yeah.
it is, it's only atheists basically laughing at very superficial critiques
Uh-huh.
of Christianity in general. And if there are Christian responses, I mean, they are pretty bad.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah. And I think there's even a guy, for example, who debates, people, like, I just saw him recently, some atheist guy who, like, debates and does call-ins and has
What's his name? Romanian guy?
Yes, I can send it to him. I don't have it right on my hand.
Uh-huh.
But I can send it to him if you want.
Yeah, please.
Where can I send it? Because I actually did try to message you, but I've been told that you don't really accept private messages.
Message me. Do you message me on Twitter?
I messaged you on Instagram like a week ago.
On Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually wanted to recommend you a book, because you are Romanian specifically.
Uh-huh.
That also deals with a conversion.
Okay. Send me another message on Instagram so that way it gets bumped up
I
to the
don't
top.
think I can because you didn't
Oh,
accept
great.
my name is
I was gonna say, do you feel comfortable saying it on stream?
well, it's Stefan George. I think you can find it. No?
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just send you and leave the stream because I took too much time in.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Well, we got some more super chats. $5. Take my few shekels. Put a good word into BB for me. Ironic considering who the next caller is. Arborg, 15 shekels. Hey, Alex, do you have any book recommendations for us to read? On what topic? On orthodoxy? Staniloy's 6-volume set, Losky's Mystical Theology. If you're more beginner, Clark Carlton. If you're intermediate, I would say Pomazansky also has good material. If you want like an overview, I think Metropolitan Callistos Ware's book, Timothy Ware, his book, The Orthodox Church: An Introduction to Eastern Christianity, is an excellent overview of history and theology. That's probably a good place to start. His humble servant is live right now taking a bunch of EO Father statements out of context. Is anybody shocked by this? It's all these people know what to do. They don't actually read these things. That's why. $5 from Cool Barracuda. Getting baptized Serbian Orthodox this Sunday. Billions will sniff incense. That's right. Many years. Cool Barracuda. Stop the switch spells, my Romanian. Thank you for the donation. George Patton, $5. How does God creating an old earth answer dying stars if nothing was corrupted? Time dilation. Because different gravitational pulls make time act differently. I think that's a possibility. Video integrity, $5. God is omnipotent and omniscient and can make the impossible possible. He can put a billion-year universe from Adam to today. It's the mystery of faith. Yeah, this is not a question that is addressed in the scriptures, not one really that the church addresses. I think what you have to believe is that Adam was the first man, that death did not enter the world before Adam. Alex Soren, Esquire, champion of Romanian Orthodoxy. I hope that I represent my jurisdiction faithfully. And Arborg, 15, I think it's shekels, right? Feelin' Froggy 34 asks, since Jay is retired, will he be relinquishing his crown of Byzantium to Alex now? No, he is still the emperor and the orthopope. Although I've seen some images online about saying that I am the successor or something. And, you know, hopefully if you guys see me that way, I am able to live up to it, because those are enormous shoes to fill, right? So we'll be going on to the next caller. Guys, it's friend Jacob Federecci who is joining us. How you doing?
Hello, Alex.
How are you?
Good. I'm mostly, I have a stream scheduled soon, so I can't stay long,
Sure.
but I mostly jumped on to apologize. I made a stupid joke, which I thought was funny, which apparently many people thought I was asserting that I won't even get into it, but that so-and-so was worse than Hitler. I'm like, no, I definitely did not mean to in any way say that. So I do want to apologize. I did not mean to offend, and I realized that I did offend, and that was my fault. And that's bad of me.
Thank you, Jacob. I'm sure the chat appreciates that. That's very big of you.
Thank you. And regarding Gavin Ortlund, like I highly recommend there's a Father Stephen clip from my channel where we talk about PSA and stuff. Like for people who believe in double predestination to start arguing that the Eastern Orthodox are too selective in who gets into heaven, like, do they hear themselves?
I know, it's the most ironic position ever. Like, they have the most restrictive view, where like you're either elect or reprobate from time immemorial, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Not only that, you can't even know for sure which group you're in. It's impossible to know.
And then they talk about assurance of salvation.
Yes.
They're always talking about assurance of salvation.
Yeah, and moreover, I have a video on this that's going into John Calvin's view. He also describes, he calls it evanescent grace, which is like you can have the appearance of being saved because God wants to use you for a purpose for a time, but then he's going to take the grace away because you're actually reprobate in terms. So you can even, like, there's no way for you to know, because if you're doing like good works and stuff, it could just be some evanescent grace that will leave you at some point.
Okay, two things. One, I have to say one of the most blasphemous concepts, which sounds so nice. I heard about common grace. I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. It is absolutely blasphemy. The idea that there are people who through common grace, right, through common grace are perfectly nice people, but God is still going to send them to hell.
Right.
Like, God gives them enough grace for them to, like, be good people, but they're still going to hell.
Yes. It's horrible. It's a really bad, like, Muslim god that Calvinists worship. It's really weird.
And the second thing, a lot of times, people when they make accusations, I feel like it's actually them kind of projecting. And so we get this a lot because, you know, the Dutch Reform, I spend way too much time with the Dutch Reform. But the Dutch Reform, they call themselves the Frozen Chosen, right? And they have this idea of electness, which they believe means God chose you to go to heaven or God chose you to go to hell. And so they impose that on the idea that we say, right, God chose Israel, right? Not the modern state. Thank you very much. But
yeah, but like in the Old Testament narrative,
right,
yeah,
right. But we believe that's a choice, as in chosen for a particular purpose, and if you fail to live up to that purpose, you failed, right? Deuteronomy 30, really important in our theology. Read the entire chapter, not an individual verse. The entire chapter, please. I highly recommend it. And so, again, like, I realize he's a Reformed Baptist, which that whole thing, like, that's even more like, okay.
Yeah, because they have no sacramentology, they have no priesthood, you know, they claim no succession or visible marks of a church, really.
And they don't baptize their kids, right?
Yeah, it's like Dutch Reformed Light, like LITE.
So my question is, like, and I don't mean to make this personal to this particular person, but, like, if you have kids, like, do you tell your kids God loves you?
I don't know. That might not be a true statement. The God might hate them from before time immemorial. People make memes about this. Like, there's this meme that I got in trouble for when I used to be part of a independent Bible Baptist church, like a few years ago. And it's like some young man, like, looking up in the stars, and then, like, Jesus appears beside him, and it's like, imagine, before all these stars were in the sky, I already hated you.
Yeah, I have a common layover I pull up on my channel a lot, which is it says Calvinist Jesus, and it's a cartoon strip, and this guy says, "Good master, what must I do to I forget what
to be saved or whatever."
Yeah, whatever the thing. And he says, and Jesus turns to him and says, "Nothing. I predestined you to hell." And the next one is just like the guy looking at Jesus like,
yeah, he can't do anything. It's really just like a stop and stare moment. Like,
and I'll tell you the most
that's
horrific,
not good news. Like, that's horrible news.
The most horrific thing, there was a shooter, in Poway synagogue, and it's very hard to find his manifesto, but I highly recommend, actually, Christians, especially Reformed Christians, read his manifesto, because he came from a very conservative Reform tradition, and he knew his Reform thing, and he's like, well, it doesn't really matter if I murder these people. Either I'm going to heaven or I'm going to hell, because Jesus chose me, and because I believe in Jesus. So, like, anybody who's going to judge me and he shot a little girl, right? He murdered an older woman, and he shot a little girl, right? It's like,
I think this is something we talk about on the channel sometimes too, is that like atheism and their determinism, they kind of overlap with Calvinism and their determinism. And I think like one of our new saints, Seraphim Rose, he has a whole essay called Nihilism. And his whole argument is that like atheism and determinism irreducibly breaks down to nihilism eventually, which it seems like that's the case for this shooter.
well, without getting too philosophical, there's the way people talk about justice nowadays. Now I'm blanking with his name, but I think it's Rawls, right? Rawlsian justice, that so many people, like all of academia, like that's what the atheists think is fairness. He was a Presbyterian, and it comes completely out of Calvinism and a rejection of Calvinism. And like John Vervaeke says, there's this God-shaped hole in the atheist mind, right, where they rejected the God of Luther, he says, right? And the shape of the hole, the God they don't believe in, is the Lutheran God, right?
Yeah.
So before you can explain to them, okay, you know, I also don't believe in your horrible Lutheran God, you first have to help them, and I think that's what Jordan Peterson did to a great extent. Help them first understand that's not God. That's not theism. That's Luther's idea of theism. That's Luther's idea of God.
Yeah, I think Peterson, despite his Gnostic tendencies, he was a pipeline for a lot of young men to at least, give theism a second glance.
Well,
Definitely.
I mean, he certainly made Pageau's fame, I think, at least. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for having me on. Sorry for causing so much trouble.
No, I don't think you did. I think, I mean, we're welcome to all the opinions. Like I said, like I looked at the chat. It seems like everybody likes you coming in and appreciates your kind words. So thank you, Jacob.
I try. Be well.
Yes. Thank you as well. Look at that. Look at that, guys. What a wholesome call. Let's go through some super chats. Church history books, that's what I'm looking for. The Callisto Swear book that I said, so it's Timothy Ware. It's his pre-metropolitan name. Timothy Ware, The Orthodox Church, An Introduction to Eastern Christianity. That is, I would say, where to start to get a bird's eye view. Then Pelicon's five-book series on this is like historical theology, but it's very good. That 5-book series. Right there, it's the first one is called The Emergence of the Catholic Tradition from 100 to 600. It's Yaroslav Pelikan, The Christian Tradition, and it's 5 volumes. That'll be the second. That'll be plenty of material for you to get through. But I would say those are like the 2 top. So Callisto Ware's book to just get a bird's eye view, and then Yaroslav Pelikan. He's like S tier church history. And not that hard to read either. He's a good writer. Bush Concepts. God bless friend Jacob. When Jacob converts, all of Wigzantium will rejoice. Thank you, Bush Concepts. Yeah, I mean, we all hope so, right? And I think Jacob wants to win people to his side, but hopefully he will come to ours. Deacon, $5. I feel like the projected length of the stream just increased dramatically. I'm here for it. Well, we'll see. Hopefully I can still close this out at a reasonable time tonight. Let's keep my fingers crossed, because I do have to get a normal sleep schedule. Otherwise, I'll just die. Bush Concepts again. My SBC mom, Southern Baptist Convention mom, always asks me if some theological book she's buying is Calvinist or not. And I tell her every time, Baptists are also Calvinist, just bad ones. I think that's a pretty good description. It's maybe some of Leighton Flowers' stuff, because I guess his view is acceptable within the SBC, apparently. So maybe you can direct her his way, and then after that, use him as a funnel into orthodoxy, right? Brandon Bailey's here, $10. Jacob, come to Holy Orthodoxy. We love Israel. Yes, the new Israel. Thank you for the donation. Catechumen, $5. Want to have a good laugh? Review the live stream of, do I want to do this? His humble servant Steve Christie and Anthony Rogers. Oh, if Anthony Rogers is there, I'll give it a glance. Here, let me get through some more callers first. Jordan, we'll go to Jordan, Cat of Cumin, and then Volpez. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, what's up, man? I just had a couple things I wanted to, go over. First thing I wanted to go over is I love the reception doctrine. I think it's a good analogy would be, right, like, bishops and synods and their decisions and decrees are like the coffee grounds, but the reception is the filter that gets filtered through, and the brew is the final binding view of that synod. So, for example, the Synod of Jerusalem, right? Certain decrees were filtered through the reception, like, the Decree 16 on infant baptism and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point to bring up, because when a Protestant tries to hold you to every single thing that's in the synod, they're coming at it from their worldview, and they're trying to do an internal critique. If you're going to do an internal critique, you have to apply the Orthodox standards and how they apply their beliefs, dogmas, and doctrines. And it's not as simple as saying, well, you have to agree with everything in the synod. No, you actually have to agree with how it was ultimately received through the entire body of the church.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's spot on. That is correct to say that.
And I don't know if it's just hard for them to wrap around that. I don't know what it is. And then
I think that's the mistake that Gavin is missing, because he's not looking at ultimately how it was received by the church. He's just like, this document says this, therefore you ought to believe this. Well, it's like, it's not that simple. Sorry. It's a legal analysis fundamentally.
Yeah, and by the way, this is historically consistent as well. You can go all the way back to the earliest councils, right? It's ultimately how it's received, not just. It's not how in the moment how it's agreed to. It's how the church received it over time.
Yes,
that it becomes a binding council.
Yes.
Also, I wanted to, because I don't know if this is just a low tier thing at this point, but the bingo thing, right? He's not. I don't know why this is a hard concept. You can agree with people of different faiths in non-theological things. Yeah. With non-theological things, right?
It's just a statement of fact. Yeah.
Yeah. If someone is bringing up a truthful critique of someone's character, right, or behaviors that has nothing to do with theology, like if someone's grifting, for example, if someone was like Joel Osteen's taking all this money from people, right? He's just trying to milk everybody of their money, and a Muslim points that out. There is absolutely no problem with going bingo to a critique on someone's character.
Well, if you do that, I guess that means you give a blanket approval to Islam, apparently.
Yeah, versus JP and Mahler have a 3-hour stream attacking actual Christian Orthodox theology.
Yeah, it's unreal.
That's actually teaming up with the Muslim to attack Christian faith.
It's utter hypocrisy.
It's not just hypocrisy. It's actually a category error on their part, because they're confusing. Yes, they're confusing critiquing someone's bad character. It has nothing to do with their theological beliefs, versus actually having a 3-hour stream criticizing someone's theological beliefs. It's crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And the last thing before I go, I just want to, the whole, old earth thing, corrupted stars and things. I think another way to look at that is that the effects of the fall from Adam and Eve being, stewards over the created cosmos, you could say it didn't have a linear effect. It had an effect past, present, and future.
Yeah, and I wonder if death entering the world just added this appearance of old age to the universe. Maybe it added to the because it's a cosmic level fall in the Orthodox view, right? So
yeah,
of course everything is going to look lifeless and dreary and dead.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, like I said, a linear effect. It could have literally affected past, present, and future. It almost like an atemporal effect. But that's just me going off the dome and trying to come up with something. All right, you have a great day, man. You keep doing what you're doing. maybe you have to get away from these Protestants too, because I'm not gonna lie, man, it's low tier. It feels like almost abuse at this point when you debate these people. So you have a great day, man.
Thanks for calling in. He has a good point there. Like, I wasn't sure like how many encryption jokes can I make about JP? Like, I don't know. Cat of Cumin, what's up?
Hey, what's good, brother? How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Have you seen the Andrew Wilson video of the X Spaces with JP?
Oh, part of it. I saw what Cleve reviewed today. I was watching that.
Okay, cool. I was really hoping that there would be some ground made by that. Andrew made a really good point that we have a lot more common than not.
That's
At least,
optimistic.
Yeah, well, so when it comes to politics, like, policies and stuff like that, right? But I mean, he made the distinction too that we should call that heresy, but also like, I don't know, man, the personal attacks have like ramped up to 11. It's not just like Protestants and Catholics. I mean, I'm a catechumen, right? Like, if you could tell. And I see it from and I see it so much from the other side, from our side as well. And I get that apologetics, like,
yeah, but it's the anons from our side usually. Like, I don't know, is Ubi Petrus going around calling people names?
True.
I mean, that might be a bad example. But am I going around calling people names?
No.
Like, it is mostly anons, but then you have David Wood over here, who's one of their biggest faces, who like not only is appealing to like literal fallacies, it's like, I don't know, it's weird.
It's just sad. It's just really sad that there was some like break in it, and even like there was a lot of people in that X space, right? Not just JP. I think some of the other creators were in there as well. There were some Catholic creators, and it sounded like a good idea. And then all of a sudden, the next post, literally like not even 2 hours from it, JP had to just like shit on. I don't even know who it was. Because it didn't even matter, but like it was the immediately afterward, he couldn't even hold himself to like any kind of standard, and it pissed me off. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I get it, I understand. We're all shit slinging right now. I just don't. What's the end goal? Like the end goal.
Honestly, my take on this is they're bad at debating, and that's why they're attacking the person instead of the arguments. And I really think it's mostly from their side. Like, is David Erhan, myself, are we going around calling people names?
No.
Kai from Orthodox Shahada. No, he might have called Agan like a little boy or something, but
yeah, I'm just hoping. I'm hoping. I don't know what it's going to take, right? If like the Protestants just run out of steam, or
Eagle will kill the owl says, I'm calling them Gnostics and Ziocucks. Well, there you go. We found the culprit.
Oh man, it's probably and I've taken pot shots too. I'm not a chief among sinners of mine, but I just wanted to put that out there. Like, I thought there was some real ground being made. And I'm not saying anybody should have answers to this, right? But you are the elected Pope of the Orthobros now.
Yeah.
May God bless your endeavors, brother.
Insofar as they recognize me, I hope that they imitate me insofar as I imitate Christ.
Nah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, billions will be baptized. You take it easy, man.
Word. Thanks. Billions will be baptized. Gonna do Volpes and Tommy Rushing and then Logan. What's up, Volpes?
What's up, Alex? I'm just here to bully your sleep schedule, actually. So...
Thank you. I was hoping no one. I was thinking no one would do that, and then I don't know what I would do.
Man, it's a little bit crazy. Like, this came up with David Wood's kind of groundless ecclesiology, right? Similar to God logic. Coming from like a nothing position and then trying to perform an internal critique it's like disingenuous at best. But my experience has been even people that are consistent, so people that say things like, oh, I've been a Baptist for 20 years, or I've been a Pentecostal for 20 years, when you actually get to know those people and you're friends with them and whatnot, they change churches a lot. Like, they are constantly filtering in and out of different evangelical, Baptist, Baptist Costal churches, usually for the craziest, like sometimes the weirdest reasons, like, oh, the pastor just didn't vibe with me, or just the most inane things. And then it's hard to watch when you're friends with these people and you love them because you want them to be Orthodox and you want, like, the church is here and you don't have to have this absurd journey of filtering in and out and through random churches. It's hard to watch. But on the flip side, people can push back really hard against what we have to say. So one of my best friends is a Pentecostal. He's kind of, I don't know how much you grounded yourself in Pentecostal thinkers when you were Pentecostal, but he's big into like Tozer.
I have quite a bit of Tozer, actually. I still have some books from him.
Yeah, and probably like I'd like some insight from you, I suppose, as to what I could maybe chat with him about. I haven't read any Tozer. I come from a Calvinist background, which, you know, completely different.
This is a 3-in-1, so I thought this was pretty useful.
Okay.
Yeah, Tozer is pretty beloved by Pentecostals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your question?
Oh, I suppose because he has the same kind of skepticism, you know, in terms of historical attestation that Ortlund would bring up. From what you know of Tozer, kind of, what do you think some good ways to talk to my friend and kind of bring him into Orthodoxy would be?
Well, I think in Tozer and in Pentecostals, they are really emphasizing the experience of God and putting substance over form. And what I mean is that they see regulations as something where, like, you're just going through the motions, and they see any sort of boundary or border as something where you're just going through the motions, and they just want to have an experience with God. And that's why they end up being like experience chasers, where they go from like one convention to another, like one seminar to another, just like chasing different experiences. And then they end up basically going to Catherine Crick stuff eventually, because it's the same thing with like anyone who's chasing experiences. You need to escalate the experiences eventually, because your dopamine gets adjusted to those experiences, right? So, I mean, don't quote me on this one, but in a way, in a sense, it's kind of like pornography, where it's like once you get hooked on it, it's like it really brings you into like the darkest, deepest parts of the internet. Like, it really is horrible. But you keep on chasing more and more experiences and getting more and more hooked onto things. Anyway, I think if we emphasize with them the experience of God, because there's two sides to orthodoxy, right? Like, you have dogmatics and a bunch of theological philosophers, and then on the other hand, you have the experience of God and this monastic tradition. I think if we emphasize that side with Pentecostals, I think that's like a great personal evangelism tool. That would be the angle I would take.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, we've had a long running friendship, so this isn't going to be like a quick silver bullet thing. We'll just probably talk through things, and you know, I want to be the best friend to him that I can, really. But
hey, your friend is lucky.
it made me chuckle. Your description of chasing experience. You make Pentecostals sound like
some drug addicts.
Like Slanesh worshippers, if you know the Warhammer universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool, man. And yeah, on the Ortlund thing, similar to the couple of callers ago, it's very, very clear that he doesn't understand canons and what canons are and what they mean. And I'm reading a book on canons at the moment by the Orthodox Professor Louis Patsibos.
Okay.
The amount of breadth and different categories and nuance as to even how canons are ranked and their importance, and like there's so much to it. There's so much to it, but he emphasizes that the way the canons are interpreted is for it's always for the salvation of the individual and the benefit of the wider church. That is the, if you want to call it jurisprudence, that is the jurisprudential approach to how the canons are interpreted and applied. Ortlund is missing all of that framework. He's just being a Protestant. They just say what they mean and they mean what they say. And I don't know if it's disingenuous at this point. Like, I don't know if he's deliberately not listening to those qualifications, or he just doesn't, like, he thinks they don't matter. So
I don't think he thinks they matter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's probably not as charitable and nuanced then as he's trying to present himself. But
yeah,
no, all good. Well, yeah, that's basically it. Lastly, you Americans can't pronounce Craig properly. I'm sorry.
Was it Craig? Craig?
Craig.
Craig. Craig.
Craig.
Craig.
Craig truly is
Craig. Craig truly.
Yeah. All right.
I will work on it. Thank you, Volpez. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go Tommy, Logan, Cam. My friend Nikolai is here. What's up, dude?
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to call in real quick. I got a panel with some Protestants that want to talk about the Gavin Ortlund stuff.
Uh-huh.
And there was a couple of them that were like really outraged by Jonathan, and they said that Jonathan did a horrible job. And I'm just like sitting there thinking to myself,
Delulu.
I'm just like, I don't understand what these people are talking about, right? And I was very frustrated.
Help me see what you are seeing.
Yeah, I was very frustrated with, because they seem to think that Jonathan was making a contradiction and talking out of both sides of his mouth, saying, yes, the councils are concerned with normative statements about the status of people and things like that, and then the context matters as well. And then Gavin was focused all about the interpersonal, especially if you notice, I'm sure you watched it, halfway through, it was all about me. Like, what do you think about me?
Cast judgment on me.
Status is. And
Yes.
I said in my review stream, I just looked at the camera and said, Gavin, we're not talking about the average person that's going to your church. We're talking about you.
Yeah.
We're talking about you. You're the obstinate one. You're the one that knows better. You're the one who's been explaining these things. Your soul is more endangered than the random Baptist grandma walking down the street.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of pretending otherwise. Like I'm not treating you with kids' gloves anymore, Gavin. Like, if you have your hurt feelings,
Yeah, and we honestly,
say the truth.
we should never have done that in the first place, because he's an adult. He's an adult man. If we hurt his feelings, then that's kind of on him, right?
Yep.
He should be
and so
able
I was
to
done.
take it. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to come in and say that, because I was like, man, this guy, like, Gavin is like, he's driving me up the wall, and all these people are driving me up the wall with this, I wish Jonathan would have hammered the Calvinism a little bit more and said, like, but Gavin, you condemn these people. Calvinism condemns these people. You believe in salvation by decree.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it's like, it was like, it's so frustrating, because it's like, he's like, oh, you brought up something from when I was 23, and then he just admits later on.
Yeah, but then it's like, do you
that it's
disagree
totally
or agree
accurate.
with it? Yeah, and he never disagrees with it. In fact, like you said, he agrees with it later on. You have like 10 minutes. You want to stick around for some other callers?
I can, yeah.
Word. We're going to do Tommy, and then Logan, and then Camden. What's up, Tommy? How you doing? Oh, I cannot hear you.
Unmute.
I still cannot.
If you're on your phone, you have to give permissions. You probably have to go in the background and give permissions first. Okay.
It was like very, very low. Logan, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing?
Awesome, good. How are you guys?
So far, so good. What's on your mind?
Sick. So I kind of come from like pretty like standard evangelical background.
Uh-huh.
And I'm still going to like one of those churches. I'm kind of new to this. I started kind of diving deeper into this kind of stuff last year, and it was kind of out of nowhere. Like, I wasn't really thinking about my faith that deeply. And then I don't know, something kind of hit me. I've been kind of studying more deeply, and I almost hate to admit it, but I've been feeling drawn to like the kind of orthodoxy, and I don't know. It's like I didn't want to. Like it kind of came out of nowhere.
I'm glad to hear that.
I have a lot of like intellectual
Don't feel bad.
hang-ups,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, what can we help you with?
yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. I do kind of share a concern with kind of like this is kind of in light of the Gavin Ortlund debate. So I am kind of sympathetic to Gavin in that, you know, I've grown up in this kind of completely different sphere of Christianity, and I do like really feel concerned for, you know, my whole family, everyone. And on an intellectual level, I understand like we're held culpable to like the amount of understanding that we have. But at the same time, and then I guess I'm kind of sidetracking here, but one kind of thing that I was wrestling with was the idea that like if there is kind of this true church, and it is the Eastern Orthodox Church, why has it kind of been like in a very small like geographic area for a long time? Like I don't know, from an intellectual,
I mean, for the first 1,000 years, it was all of Christianity.
That's a good point. I guess it just feels on a spiritual level just a little difficult sometimes when there's like so many Christians that I know are very genuine that have just never been exposed to kind of the true church, you could say, because it kind of has been geographically locked. And I know there's a lot of like reasons for that. You know, there's been a lot of persecution.
Well, I mean, so what I hear so far is like 2 objections. And so like the first one is, what does it mean for Protestants who know nothing about Orthodoxy that Orthodoxy is true? And then the second objection was like broadly on the geographic location and the success of Orthodoxy, like geographically. Neither of those things has anything to do with the truth value of Orthodoxy.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say that. Like, I can definitely grasp that intellectually, like the claims of.
Yeah, so we want to keep our logical thinking. I'm not picking on you or anything, but we do want to keep our thinking non-fallacious and logical.
Yeah,
you know, so like if these things have nothing to do with the truth value of Orthodoxy, I mean, we have to be a little more cutthroat with what we accept.
Well, also think of it this way: like the same criticism cuts anyway, right? Evangelicals go around and proselytize and have missionary societies in Orthodox countries, and they try and convert Orthodox people because they believe that we don't have the gospel, right?
Yeah.
Where was the true evangelical church for 2,000 years until now in those countries, right?
Yeah,
and then also, what about all these Buddhist countries that have basically 0% Christian population? They're just screwed, right? So we could make like moral outrage claims as well, going the other direction.
Yeah,
make sense?
Do you know who is the most successful missionary? Do you know who's the most successful missionary group today?
I do not.
It's Pentecostals.
That's
Does
true.
that mean that they are correct?
No, I'm not a fan of Pentecostals, to be honest.
Me neither.
And
I mean, I like them as people.
My statement more like I do understand the intellectual, like you know, it's more of like a spiritual concern that I'm kind of working through, and it's not like a logical thing. And then
we pray for the whole world at every single liturgy.
Yeah.
So like all the souls of the opposed, we pray for them every liturgy. You can go light a candle for your parents before every liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
also
there was this Saint Seraphim of Sarov quote going around. That Jonathan Pageau was saying, "Acquire the spirit of peace, and thousands will be saved around you."
Mm.
And it's just important to emphasize this, that there's a reason Orthodoxy is oriented the way that it is. We're like, you know, there's the difference between the dogma and the hard, rigorous stance, and then understanding that God's not bound to those decrees. And I think that whole discussion with Jonathan Pageau and Gavin, essentially that's what it boils down to, is Gavin wants assurance of salvation, that we don't offer because we have a different understanding of salvation on a foundational level. We can't offer that to the average Protestant that wants this sort of like assurance in their life. And it's kind of ironic because Father Stephen has talked about this on this channel, that even the most ardent, like Dutch Reformed that has all of the signs and all of the signposts of being a true Christian and a true believer, he said at their deathbed when he's ministering to them, they will still have anxiety about the state of their soul. So you're never going to get past that question of, well, what about XYZ people, or what about my salvation, or what about this, right? You're never going to get 100% by that, but I think Orthodoxy provides a real true answer to that. A practical answer is that your prayers can be efficacious. So I think that's the answer.
Well, I appreciate that. No, thank you. Yeah, and I definitely didn't say that in the most polished way, but I appreciate that. And I did kind of have one other question, kind of dealing with a bit more of a specific topic. So, and it's something I've been kind of wrestling with, like the idea of, like, I know this is probably like kind of low tier, but like the idea of Mary and the saints. So like the saintly intercession, I don't really have a huge issue with that. Like I can understand like the intellectual reasons. The only hang up, like specifically with Mary, and I know this is talked about a lot, but I like obviously affirm like the Theotokos, and I have no problem with her being like an ever virgin, but just is it not said that everyone shall fall short of the glory of God? And the idea
Yes, we
of Mary
believe
being
she needs a savior.
sinless. Sorry.
Yes, we believe she needs a savior. She says that in Luke.
Okay. So you interpret that to say that it's not about whether they've actually committed a sin, it's that everyone
She
actually
inherits the consequences of Adam's and Eve's sin, but she didn't commit a sin in the affirmative sense.
Okay. And
Roman Catholics would deny even that. They would say
Yeah.
she did not inherit whatever the consequences
And,
are.
and so like the Catholics explain this through the Immaculate Conception, which
yeah, we
makes
reject
sense.
this doctrine. We think that doctrine is kind of like heretical, actually.
Yeah, and it makes like logical sense in that it like gives a mechanism for why she was not able to sin in a sense. But I don't think I don't think it's true. But
And the Old Testament says like Job was completely blameless and held himself from every evil.
yeah. Is that like a
Noah
gift
was
from
righteous.
God, or is there like agency in that?
It's synergy. It's both.
Yeah. I
It's
guess
the human will cooperating with God.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of like still working into like an idea of synergistic thinking, in that I come from a very legalistic background, Protestantism and that is something like
There's a
it
more
can be a little hard to
complicated
grasp at
read,
first.
but it's kind of instructive on this, is Maximus's Disputations with Pyrrhus. Our whole soteriology is kind of based in diotheletism. So once you get your Christology right, it kind of makes sense. That's where our anthropology comes from.
Interesting.
Well, also, I always tell, like, this helps. I don't know if you're married, but if you are married, understanding that marriage is not a monergistic relationship, right? Synergistic relationship. And I think that helps you understand how we view the relationship an Orthodox Christian has with how God operates with us, right? Though it's different in hierarchy, it's like it's not a one person does all the work kind of a thing. Otherwise, it's not a relationship. You're just essentially automaton, which is the big problem that we always point out with like Calvinist thinking, is that ultimately there is no subject of you in their theology. There is no subject of you. You're not making any decisions. The decisions are set in stone and made for you at the beginning of time. And nothing you do will ever affect those things, right? And so we believe in secondary causation. So that kind of is one of the things that's another foundational thing that you have to kind of start wrapping your head around, those foundational ideas, and build up from there. A lot of people want to start at salvation, but if your view of sin, your view of the fall, your view of human anthropology, if that's all like scattered about and not Orthodox, then the Orthodox answers to salvation, to theosis, to our eschatology, etc., our sacramentology, none of that's going to make sense to you until you address those foundational concerns.
Yeah. No, that I totally understand that and I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess getting past the idea of original sin is probably a big one because that is such a foundational concept in Western Christianity. And I like it's something I was brought up in. Like, original sin is such a powerful
How did
foundation.
what tradition did you grow up in?
Pretty like thin non-denominational type theology.
Like
I'm really trying to
Calvinisty?
move past it, but sorry.
Calvinisty or no?
Like reformed, like John Piper, Paul Washer, John MacArthur, R.C. Sproul, those types.
Yeah, so I kind of moved around a bit. I like was part of more Pentecostal leaning, then I was at a Church of Christ for a bit, and now I'm more Calvinist-y leaning. So I really ran the
Nice.
gambit of like really shallow non-denominational type churches, but
Yeah.
no, I do really appreciate that explanation. And I guess I'm kind of like working through like looking at kind of early history patristics, and right now I'm reading like a 2-book volume. I believe it's by Justo L. Gonzalez.
Yeah, I have it. That's a decent one.
Yeah.
I like, if you're looking for a patristic exposition of our faith, funny enough, it's called, it's by St. John Damascus, An Exact Exposition of the Orthodox Faith. That one, you want the basics where he's going to break down basically these are the exact like bare minimum you need and to maintain your
Yeah.
orthodoxy kind of a thing. That's going to be there, you know.
He summarizes all the patristic teachings.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely need to look into that stuff more. I've scanned a little bit of Irenaeus and Ignatius and stuff, and you know, it's been really rewarding, but I really don't have like a deep understanding of that. But the history has been really revealing so far. Like the idea that communion is like the highest form of worship and that it's the center point from the earliest church, because communion is so de-emphasized in my tradition. It's kind of feeling more and more appalling. Just like going there every week, it feels more and more not right, I guess. And it is difficult because
That's good.
I really do appreciate like everyone there. Like I have no personal issues in the church. Everyone's
I'm
been
familiar
amazing,
with
but
the feeling, yes.
yeah, I did hear you talking earlier with I think it was Andrew, and I guess I am sounding a little bit like him, but
yeah. Snagglebeast says for $2 that all the books from Dr. Clark Carlton are great. Yes, they are, and I've recommended his stuff on the channel before. Clark Carlton is like good, like plain English, cuts right to the point, like
Awesome.
the basics. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't want to take any more of your time, but
Word. Thank you for calling in, Logan. Those are good questions.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. See ya. We'll do some super chats. 15, I think it's shekels, this symbol. That's so ironic, considering JP called into Jerome's stream to complain about being called names. Yeah, and then he got dog walked. Thank you for the donation. Membership from Bingo Foxtrot. Thank you for the membership. Appreciate you. $2 from Joseph Curry. Dr. David Bradshaw is great in explaining synergy. I think his books are excellent. They're a little more academic, complicated, but Dr. David Bradshaw is excellent work, like really, really good work. $20 from Journey of Abundance. Thank you. Protestants will try to say they believe in sanctification as we do on one hand, while on the other hand, denying the higher levels of sanctification achieved by the church's saints. Yeah. Like they're very skeptical about the miracles performed by the Orthodox saints, and it's just very odd. Like they really can't square that legal view with an actual transformational view. I agree. Journey of Abundance. Anything on this one, Nikolai?
No, I mean that's 100% correct. I think that again, there is no. It's all legal. It's all an impute. They just believe in imputation. There's no actually change in the person. You're covered by Christ, and again, from the background I was, they really emphasized you are just filthy rags. It's only because Christ is covering you that you're even allowed to be in the presence of God, you filthy, dirty person, right? That's kind of like the vibes you often get from it. And it does spiritual damage to people, because then people go, well, I have an excuse for why I'm still essentially a degenerate, because I'm just stumbling, but Christ is covering me, so it doesn't matter at the end. Now, I know that they'll say in practical terms that that's a sign that you're not really saved, but there's no real mechanism to actually know if you're experiencing real, true change in Christ. So,
yeah, that's spot on.
The complete, inspired, inerrant, infallible, indestructible Word of God, the 66th book, King James Bible, amen.
We're going to try Tommy again. Tommy Rushing. I still cannot hear you, brother. I am sorry. If you want to leave your question, if you have a question, you can leave it in the private chat, and then we'll answer it later.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I heard you. Hold on.
What? No.
There it goes.
I'm here.
Quick. Yeah, what's your question? Quick. Quick.
Whoa. Are we here?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's your question?
We can hear you. What's up?
Awesome. No, okay, so I'm the first Protestant of the night. So
great.
All right. So I don't disagree because I'm not Calvinist.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of the trouble is the attack angle with the Calvinists. Is that like when you're dealing with a Mormon or a Jehovah's Witness and you're trying to argue about definitions and the history, everything has been reframed in their own vocabulary. So this idea with salvation, the problem is that it's its own new thing. It has a whole new meaning to it. What is better is to attack the lifestyle.
What do you mean by the lifestyle?
Well, how their definitions play out, not just the definition itself, but how the
I think that's usually the Orthodox angle, is to talk about praxis.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Usually. But in the online space, a lot of the frustration comes from, like in the Ortlund Pageau conversation. Both of them are trying to establish these definitions, when really what they should be establishing is how the ideas play out.
Yeah, I think Jonathan was trying to get to that, but Ortlund was more concerned about his specific status and the way in which we label Protestants, right, in a general sense. And Jonathan kept on wanting to go, but Gavin, what is your view and what is the logical entailments of it? I've already explained our view is this, and it leads to this. So that's what that's what Jonathan was trying to do, but I think Gavin just wasn't interested in that. And if you just look at the body language, Gavin seemed very frustrated from the very get-go, because Jonathan just didn't capitulate to his reading and interpretation of the saints.
Yeah, because everything's up here in the head space. I think if Jonathan would have doubled down a little bit more on the implications of the ideas, rather than trying to defend or establish the Orthodox position, and just take up a totally just putting a lens on it and saying, okay, here's how the Orthodox idea plays out. Here's how the Orthodox liturgies play out and cause this change. It would have at least shown that Jonathan was more interested in that rather than playing this rhetoric game, because that's all this Calvinist stuff is rhetorical games in order to hold up a defense to maintain the idea.
Yeah, we would agree.
Yeah.
So you're not a Calvinist?
Oh, no. No.
Why aren't you Orthodox?
You wanted to make the live stream short, so we can't go there. I've got.
Quality over quantity, right?
No. There's a lot of reasons. None of them are big reasons, but I haven't ruled it out. Let's just say that.
Well, that's good. Have you been to? The chat is saying that your beard is too good to be Protestant.
Yeah. I would have to travel to go to an Orthodox church, like quite a ways. But I haven't ruled it out.
Yeah.
It's
So
rough.
I think
I understand. It's rough for some people. Some people have to travel 2-3 hours. So when you do make a decision like that, it has to be a seriously made decision. So I totally get that. Yeah.
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 That's my only thing is I think that if the attack angle gets away from the rhetoric, redefining, and you're trying to bring out how the ideas play out, because then they have to deal with reality and instead of ideas.
Are you a fan of Warren McGrew?
I don't know who that is.
Okay,
Idol
because
killer.
you have similar critique that he does. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, word.
Oh, that was it.
Good observations. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. I thought I was gonna have a debate. Dang it. Chris, what's up?
Yo, what's up? So I have a few questions about like Ignatius and Clement of Rome, because it seems like they have different church structures. Like
I disagree.
Okay. So my thing would be that Ignatius holds to a 3 office, and Clement holds to a 2 office.
I think he holds to a 3 office, but I could see from the language why you would conclude it's a 2 office view, because he does compare it to a Levite priest and high priest at one point, and when he says presbyters, at that point every single overseer is a presbyter, but not every presbyter is an overseer.
So it's sort of like a distinction in authority, but not a distinction in name, if you will.
Sometimes.
Okay. Because that's like
Sometimes.
one of my biggest
So like when
issues.
St. Paul, I think it's 1 Timothy, he says that it's one of the letters to Timothy. He says that the eldership laid hands on you. So it's not just like a bunch of elders. He's saying it's like a board, like a synod. He's saying like the synod laid hands on you.
Yeah.
Eldership.
Yeah, okay. So it's okay.
Yeah,
'Cause,
every
like,
bishop is a presbyter, but not every presbyter is a bishop.
yeah, okay. Because that's one of my biggest like things about Orthodoxy is like I don't understand how there's a 3-fold office, but there's not one in like the Bible or a
I
certain
think you do
church
see it in
fathers.
the Bible.
I mean, I see like in Timothy and Titus, they're given special authority, because if it was written to the people in Cyprus for Titus, everyone would have gotten that authority, but they didn't. So I understand that, but yeah, it's just one of my biggest critiques.
I mean, are there any passages that make you doubt the 3-fold office in the New Testament?
I think it's Acts 11. I'm not really sure, but it's when like I think during the Council of Jerusalem, they refer to them as presbyters, then they refer
The
to
elders,
them as
yeah.
elders.
So
Yeah.
when they refer to them collectively, because of the Hebrew context, that would be overseers, but they refer to them as elders. Like Peter also refers to himself as a fellow elder. So as an apostle, he is a bishop, he is a priest, a presbyter. He is all of those things. But you can't say that every elder is an apostle.
Yeah. I think I agree with apostolic succession and stuff, but
Yeah, it's a collective term that's used for synods.
Yeah.
Like I said, eldership in Paul's letters to Timothy.
Okay. I have another question though.
There was
So-
also, sorry, on that, there was an article that I mentioned in my debate with Aaron Gallagher. I can find it and put it in the chat, but it talks about how there were synods in the Second Temple period before even Christianity. So like the Sanhedrin that's local to Jerusalem, all of the diaspora of the Jews, they had their own local synods as well. So this is like not a new structure.
Would you say that since the church is new Israel, that they sort of took like the 3-fold office of like the Aaronic priesthood or Levitical
Yes,
priesthood?
that's
Okay.
what Clement says.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Okay. So my other question would be, the Orthodox has an interesting view on evolution and like what's it called? Dinosaurs. Like,
Oh, I'm not familiar with the Orthodox view on dinosaurs.
okay, well, we can just.
I am familiar with the conspiracy theory that they just never existed.
Mm.
There's three different views. I don't think any of those views are dogmatic, where like you have to believe it in a certain way. But it's based on my historical analysis of various cultures around the world, mythologies and things of that nature. It seems very clear that some sort of dinosaur-like creatures did indeed exist throughout the world, and we hunted them to extinction. Because Marco Polo, you can actually read this. A writing of Marco
he saw
Polo,
them.
he actually describes how the Chinese hunted them and used their various organs for various medicinal purposes. So,
like dragons, like you think that dragons are dinosaurs?
like, well, they call them dragons, but the term dinosaur didn't exist till the 1800s. So everybody would have used dragon.
There's a debate on modern day debates coming up between Kent Hovind and some other guy about whether dinosaurs and humans lived at the same time. So maybe that'd be interesting to check out.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's not something that I think is dogmatic, and I think people that like put all their eggs in that basket and say, "Oh, if you don't hold to this, then you're denying an evolution." And like, I have problems with evolution because of death before the fall and things of that nature. I think that does bring issues. But I don't think it's necessarily an issue that's going to separate yourself from the church, because the saints don't really comment on it. So
that's true. But yeah, I think it's just because, like, if there is dinosaurs before the fall and they died, then that means that Adam and Eve, the story is false, and that means that it's not Genesis is not scripture then, and that therefore means that the church has been guided into error, which it shouldn't happen. So that's just my own personal thing. Because if like evolution does exist, then the whole like Genesis story collapses, and
Did you see the debate between Redeem Zoomer and Jim Bob on
No, I didn't.
Death Before the Fall? Jim Bob just takes him through the ringer. I mean, it was just like Redeem Zoomer literally admitted that Adam and Eve's father and mother, by necessity, were not human, but Adam and Eve were human. So one and it's completely arbitrary. So he actually had to bite the bullet, and this is just hilarious. Go watch it. He had to bite the bullet, and Jim Bob asked him, he's like, so when God allowed for Adam and Eve to eat the animals, could they eat their parents after the fall? And he had to bite the bullet and say yes.
That's so crazy.
That is insane. Yeah.
W Jim Bob for that.
Yeah.
Yes, Jim Bob is the evolution guy when it comes to debating atheism and evolution. If you want, go to Made by Jim Bob. He's the one that he does this all the time, and he will probably answer any questions or calls that you have about it. So,
okay. I'm sorry to take up so much of your time, but I do have one last question.
Sure.
So, Eliakim, I've heard a lot of evidence, like an arguments of the typology between Eliakim and
Barrel-Aged Faith. Cassian King has discussed this at length on his channel. I think if you look at the early patristic interpretations, nobody interpreted the Pope alone, like the Bishop of Rome alone, as Eliakim. Every single bishop is Eliakim.
Wait, why is that?
Because each bishop has the keys.
I mean, yeah, Matthew 18:18, but why would it become plural then? Because Eliakim is a singular person, and like all typology, like for example, Mary, since she's a new Eve.
Why would there be multiple altars?
Multiple altars?
Yeah, so you have an altar in Egypt, you have an altar in Jerusalem.
Oh, wait, is that why the seas are like called altars? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have different bishops for different jurisdictions. You have one Eliakim. You have many Eliakims to cover the whole earth.
Okay.
And then Christ is, of course, the high priest.
Alrighty, okay. I think you've answered my questions, and I just want to say God bless you guys. You guys are really great, and it's a great conversation. So thank you guys. God bless.
Yeah, thank you.
Wait.
God bless.
Wait,
Sorry.
Happy Feast of St. Augustine.
Thank you. Yes, that's one
All
St.
right.
John Maximovich frequently celebrated. Yeah, thank you, Chris.
All right, yeah, thank you guys. God bless.
Yep, God bless. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, Chris, go check out what Cassian King has to say about it. He's covered that a lot. There is like no early patristic that agrees with the modern Roman Catholic interpretation of the Eliakim example. Camden, what's up?
Yo.
What's up? How you doing?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Word.
Okay. So it's funny because I actually had a similar question that the last guy had.
Yeah.
Regarding Clement of Rome's view on the church structure as opposed to Ignatius's. So it's interesting that you had kind of said that. So I guess I'm trying to understand where you're seeing that parallel. I'd love to know. I've heard it before from like Perry Robinson. I was listening to him talk about it. I have Clement here too. I was trying to look through it because I was going to ask about it, but then you said that to that guy, and I was like, oh man, I must have missed something then. Because Perry Robinson talked about it too, saying that he makes the correlation between the threefold, right? And I am Orthodox, by the way. I've just been trying to understand this. I've been reading through some of these guys and trying to make sense of that.
I'll give you the chapter here in a second.
Okay.
Chapter 40.
Okay, so
these things, therefore, let me share it with the. These things, therefore, being manifest to us, and since we look into the depths of the divine knowledge, it behooves us to do all things in their proper order, which the Lord has commanded us to perform at stated times. He has enjoined offerings to be presented and service to be performed to him, that not thoughtlessly or irregularly, but that at the appointed times and hours. So if you read the Didache, you see that there's overlap between the Didache and this section of First Clement, because it's talking about not only the Eucharist, but like other different like grain offerings that are offered to the Lord, which in the Romanian jurisdiction, we still do those today. Where and by whom he desires these things to be done, he himself has fixed by his own supreme will. So here, Clement is talking about the priesthood, right? Not everybody can go and offer sacrifices. Not everybody can go and offer the Eucharist. So where and by whom he desires these things to be done, he himself has fixed his own supreme will in order that all things being piously done according to his good pleasure may be acceptable unto him. Those, therefore, who present their offerings at the appointed times are accepted and blessed, for inasmuch as they follow the laws of the Lord, they sin not. For his own peculiar services are assigned to the high priest, and their own proper place is prescribed to the priests, and their own special ministrations devolve on the Levites. The layman is bound by the laws that pertain to laymen. So you have high priest, which correlates to the bishop, priest, which correlates to priests, presbyters, and then the Levites, which correlates to deacons, and then layman correlates to laymen. So he uses this parallel in the Old Testament to describe the practices that we have today.
okay, so you think that in the end of that chapter there, he's directly trying to correlate
It's
that
an
to
analogy, yes.
Sure. Okay, cool. I'll have to
And
look into
that's,
that
I
more.
think that's Perry Robinson's position as well.
So I watched a Perry Robinson video like 8 months ago about this kind of thing, and I've been trying to find it because I remember liking what he had to say. Just not remember being able to, or I wasn't able to find it. But it seemed like, if I remember correctly, it almost seems like what I remember Perry saying was earlier on, and I could be totally wrong. I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but earlier on, bishops, it was a as time went on and the church began to grow, the bishops began to send representatives of himself to communities to right. So like in that sense, like would you think at some point there was some sort of twofold ministry?
No,
Or
I think it was
no.
apostle, priest, deacon, and then
Okay.
as the apostles died off, they appointed bishops and overseers.
Okay, so so like the lines are it's there's like some overlap between the apostles' positions and the new
Yes.
bishops. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I suspect. There are some things like, I think it's Philippians where it'll say things like to the bishops in Philippi.
Yep.
And be like plural bishops. But that's common for big cities to where you have multiple bishops in like different districts of the city. So like Hippolytus of Rome is not actually from Rome. He's from the port district of the city of Rome, like a nearby suburb of Rome, but he's still referred to as Saint Hippolytus of Rome. Right, so there would have been multiple Roman bishops at the same time because it's a huge metropolitan area.
Sure.
And then over time, these would have like consolidated, and the jurisdictions would have been more clear.
Yeah, sure. One thing on the thing the last guy was talking about is I was reading on the apostolic preaching.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, who does the foreword on this? Some goat, some awesome dude, John Bear, and he's like he talks
Father
about how
John Bear.
Irenaeus was like is referred to as presbyter multiple times in his life, you know, and like, obviously Irenaeus knew himself as a bishop, right? So I guess that was a thing that came to mind when he was talking. And then so I was wondering,
there is a development of language, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at it structurally, it is there from the Bible.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering why people aren't using the second sibling oracle ever. I feel like I never hear this brought up.
I mean, what does it say?
It speaks of Mary incredibly highly. I mean, it's like a first century, early second century text. It talks about, I mean, it all like a bunch of the apostolic fathers were reading it, and we know it because they quote from it. Justin Martyr was reading from it because he quotes it. Athenagoras, Shepherd of Hermas, Theophilus of Antioch, all these guys read this, and I'm just wondering why it's never brought up, because it says very clearly like that God gives people like time to repent through the intercession of the Holy Virgin. You know, it says that. It talks about even like you can make a case like intercession of the saints. Like I thought I was going to see it in your debate, and I didn't. I was just wondering. It seems like I never heard it like referenced, and I wonder it's like a controversial text. I feel like I haven't heard it spoken of that way when I've heard it.
Are there any reasons to think it's controversial?
I don't think so.
I think you might be right. Maybe we should just use it more.
Okay. Well, interesting. I thought, okay. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it'd be something good to look into. Because
it's hard to be on top of all the different things. I mean, there's believe it or not, the more Alex, and I'm sure Alex can agree with me on this, the more we've looked into icon veneration in the early church, the more we've looked into prayers to the saints, the more we've looked into relic veneration, all these other issues that they constantly bring up as like a foil against us, the more we go, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff that we've just never even noticed. You know, you don't know. And it's the same thing with the scriptures. When you're a Protestant, you don't read the scriptures and go, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that Job is literally told to call on one of the holy ones. I read Jones at least 3 or 4 times growing up. Never noticed it. You know, glossed over that completely. So
yeah. I guess I kind of learned from it from just watching a Craig Trugula video where he did some good research on some stuff, and he makes the case that it's like the most important text by the time of the second century outside of the Bible. He says that it's the text quoted the most, which is like well,
Craig is real nerdy about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. He puts a lot of good stuff together. But okay, anyhow, one thing I wanted to say, it's not really a question. I just feel like the reading like the second century or even late first century church fathers, I feel like is something like everybody should just do.
Yeah,
like it'll take you a weekend.
Yeah, I'm always going back to the apostolic fathers. Yeah,
it's like 3. Like I mean, besides like you can read like half of Against Heresies by Irenaeus, and like you know what I mean. But like besides that, and like Justin Martyr, it feels like it's not a lot of content.
Yeah,
and every one of them disproves Protestantism in its own way.
Yeah, like Clement is short, Ignatius is short, Irenaeus on the apostolic preaching is short.
Yeah, it is. And I mean that guy. I mean they all speak of oral tradition so highly. They all speak of in some way.
St. Justin Martyr's first apology is not that hard of a read.
And
you could do that in a day.
Like even like the Athenagoras' stuff is sweet too, and it's short. It's like 70 pages for all of his works. Like even the fragments of Papias, it's like 4 pages total, and like half of it just flies in the face of Protestantism. It's just it feels. I just don't know.
The Dionysian corpus, which is now
Sure.
more and more. I mean, I after that what came out with Cleve, and they did that with Scriptorium Press. I went ahead and started reading it. I'm like, my goodness, this just no wonder Protestant scholars were so desperate to date it at a later point. No wonder they were so desperate for that, because man, it just totally totally eviscerates their position, like completely.
Yeah. No, Dionysius can't be authentic and Protestantism be true at the same time. They're exclusive.
Well, it's the same thing with Ignatius. There was a movement back in the 90s, and James White was actually around during that time where they.
He said he didn't exist.
Was it Ignatius? Was it Ignatius or Irenaeus that he says that? I think it was.
He
Ignatius.
said Ignatius. Yeah.
Ignatius doesn't exist, and you're just like, okay. Like,
that was one of the worst blunders I think I've seen, like maybe ever. In a theological debate.
Oh man, yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to everybody who's like looking into this, just like take like a weekend, like spend $40 on Amazon and just read them. Like they all like just have an open mind. Like it's all very clear. It feels to me. It feels too clear. It feels too obvious. I don't, you know what I mean? It's like I just bash myself in the head every time I'm thinking about it. It's like, what the heck? It's like right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, we have
like the
these
next
guys.
few generations of bishops right after the apostles. That's right.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. But I'm sure you guys feel the frustration too. One last thing. One quick thing. So I read through the Yaroslav Pelikan, that first volume, Alex, that you were just talking about earlier. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah,
so good. I mean, like, this is a sweet read. It's cool. It's really great. He talks about like he mentions very briefly like the transition of the words used for presbyters to priests. And how it seemed like what his understanding was is that it's like Christianity like just overtook like the population so greatly that like the word priests like lost like its. I don't know if you remember what he's talking about. They no longer had a problem calling the presbyters priests because the word had been like Christianity had triumphed so far over
paganism.
Yeah, right. So I guess like I'm just wondering more about that because like like the classic thing that a Protestant will say is like, oh, there's no priest and the priesthood is destroyed and we're all priests. And I know that Orthodoxy does hold to the priesthood of all believers in the sense that we're all tonsured when we're received. But I guess I'm just wondering if you guys had more like resources for that. Like it's like why is that word used? Why did we use that word instead of just elder as the second tier of the threefold? Like what? Why is that?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it caught on instead of like elder or anything like that.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to keep looking. I was just wondering. This is something that people have said to me before. It's like, well, all I can tell you is that like Christianity was like it was too goated, and like everybody just had to like was fine using the word priests. You know what I mean? But like there's still, I don't know. So okay, that's really all I had. So thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Alex, you're doing some good stuff in the debate world out there. Keep it up, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, talk better. Yeah.
Bye. Okay, Farish. We'll do Farish and then Mason and then
hell
Moses.
yeah.
And then we'll
hell yeah, brother.
for real we'll work on closing it out. So, what's up, Farish?
Greetings, everyone. You're not gonna believe it. Well, greetings, boys and girls, I should say, for one. But you're not going to believe it. I actually wanted to discuss First Clement as well.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's wild. I was actually reading through it yesterday instead of working.
Uh-huh.
Probably shouldn't say that, but basically, I wanted to similar and referring to the same sections as well, unbelievably, but sort of a different question. But I just quickly reread through those sections now, and I'm wondering to the degree to which we can actually use that argument to support the threefold office, because the next section goes on to talk about how, I think you could probably use it as saying that he's making an analogy between the Old Testament priestly structure and how that continues on to the New Testament priestly structure.
Yeah, I think it's like
because
it's manifestly clear that he's talking about the Eucharist.
Well, but the thing is, the problem is in section 41, in the continuation of that subject, he goes on to say how those offerings which are offered above are offered in Jerusalem only. That's the offerings that he's referring to, that he makes that he makes the point about in section 40. But then in the section after that, he then starts talking about how, you know, the
Eucharist,
future order has been promised. Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm wondering firstly if that section in section 40 then is explicitly about the current priestly structure. That's my first question. But then secondly, the other question that I have, which was the one I think it was more, which I was more interested in, is he uses present tense language about how the offerings are currently made in Jerusalem and Jerusalem alone. And I'm wondering if that's a hint to an early dating of the letter. Like how
maybe like pre-70.
That present, yeah, like pre-70, because he's talking about how it's like as if it's being offered at that time, and he's using it as an example of what's going on right now to say that, you know, he's drawing on a present tense example by the reading. And I don't know if it's too much to infer from that.
I think it might be a little too much, but
it's difficult because from a historical perspective, yes, you'd have to weigh it with all the other inferred things. So if in other parts of the letter he is referring to something that we know is dated later, well, that immediately rules out your inference, right? I don't know if that's the case. I haven't read it closely enough, and I'm not a scholar in it. But that's how you'd have to analyze that. Though I don't think your inference is too far-fetched. So if that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, I think for like the twofold office that you see here in 42, it's the same thing that you think, or that you see in, I think it's Titus, one of his pastoral epistles, where he says that it is a good thing for someone to what is it, like to aspire to be an overseer. So here are the qualifications for a presbyter. Yeah, it's like weird the way he words it. So the idea is that here are the qualifications for what it means to be a presbyter, because the bishops are going to be taken out of the pool of presbyters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jerome makes the same argument as well in his in one of his letters. So for me, it's like it's the semantics of what's in play here, or the kind of language that they use where they make the twofold distinction. It really
I think
is
bishops
which encapsulates the
priests. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm not too worried about that, but I guess my question is my question is going back to what sense is he purely referring to the New Testament priestly structure? But you know, either way, I can definitely see how it points to a threefold office, regardless.
Yeah.
I
think just in connection with the prior passages, like, there are a few scholars that talk about this too, that it's like only those that are appointed by the apostles that are permitted to give out the Eucharist. Like, that's the connection that he's making here in these three passages. Like the introduction to my version of Clement says that.
Your version, your personally.
My personal interpretation version.
On a side note, going back to the discussion that, I mean, if you've got time for me to go on multiple tangents, the discussion that was had with with Andrew Wilson and JP on Spaces the other day, I was so disappointed to find out. I mean, I really, you know, I don't know how much you can rely on trust in the grapevine, but finding out that wasn't going ahead for whatever reason, or like hearing people say that it wasn't going ahead. I was so hyped to actually see the prospect of actually people being put under the grill for an hour on their own position.
That'd be great.
I know that's like the best faith possible thing that you could do, like to further discussion. Basically, like, look, just, you know, do the whole Stephen Crowder singing in the middle of a shopping mall or on a college campus, being, "This is my view, challenge me," right?
Yeah, exactly.
But doing that on the Crucible for hundreds of thousands of people to see, I think that'd be fantastic. But it's just disappointing that the discourse has gotten to this point. And like one of the most important takeaways from that discussion is I mean, obviously the most important thing to keep in mind is obviously the theological distinctives, and at the end of the day, in that sense, we can't say that we're united as brothers in Christ, because the theological distinctions and the framework that make up the theological propositions which we believe is super important. But at the same time, it's like, at the same time, it's important to have good relations with people and to actually make political allegiances where we can.
Yeah, I think it's very pragmatic, but I think I forgot who it was. I think Jim Bob said that it needs to be like clear from the outset that this is literally just out of convenience. Like, we still don't recognize the theological differences.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You don't want people to be under the false impression that you have a closer unity than that's actually the case. And I think I think it's like it's also kind of a virtue to be honest in that sense, to actually be like, look, this is purely I'm purely using you in your church to further my own political goals. So, like, I'm not going to lie about that. But
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the same, and eventually it's going to get to a point, like, even once you get beyond, like, the only reason you can have any sort of a unity in a political perspective is because you have a series of opponents that you're allying against. Once those opponents go away, as politics
now your former allies are your opponents.
Exactly. It's like, well, now we're fighting for power amongst each other. We didn't let those people get the power, but now we have to determine who gets the power.
Well, and we know this is going to be the case, and I got to get going after this, Alex. But I'll just make.
Are you streaming after?
Yeah, I'm actually streaming. I already have the stream active, so I'm going to be
All right,
doing a panel
I'll send
with
it
some
to you.
Protestants. But the big thing, Fresh, is we already know that they're planning this, because you see Doug Wilson and the Christian Nationalists have already come out and said that they would ban certain practices of ours, right? So it's like, I'm sorry, guys. At some level, I'm going to have to say, yeah, no. like,
no, thank you.
Going too far. So that'd be my position. But I'll see you guys later. And hopefully this panel starts soon. JP was on it. I don't know if he's still going to be on it. So we'll see.
My friend.
All right. See ya, Alex.
All right. See ya.
That's all I wanted to say as well. Good chatting.
All right. Thank you, Farish. All right, we're going to go to Mason, and then Moses, and then Super Chats, and then we're done. What's up, Mason?
Hey, Alex. Good to see you again. How you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I saw your recent debate with JP, and I'm not going to lie. I thought the whole, JP saying that pray to the saints is necromancy.
Yeah, that's pretty cooked. I mean, his best shot would have been to say it's divination or something, but it's definitely not necromancy.
Yeah, and especially him using ChatGPT is kind of wild.
He also didn't use that argument in his opening, by the way, so it was kind of improper for him to make that argument in the cross-exam section.
Yeah, what would you think would make him become Orthodox, and by not just rejecting the necromancy, but like just in general, what would it take for him to do it? Do you think?
I don't know, dude. He's dug his heels in, dude. He's pretty dead set.
I just can't be convinced with Protestantism after reading the Didache, and what was that one book that the guy before the previous guy mentioned? It was by some what was his name again? It had to do with the church fathers or something like I forgot the name of the book. I apologize.
It's like On the Apostolic Preaching by Irenaeus or
something like that.
Yeah, any of that, like Clement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any of the apostolic fathers, I think you'll see connections right away. Like Clement and Irenaeus, both of them, like right away, make arguments from apostolic succession. Saint Cyprian holds a council to say that you have to do infant baptism in the mid-200s and that it's apostolic, and that's how they inherited the tradition, was through infant baptism. You see a lot of this stuff like really early on. The Subtuum Presidium is, Marian adoration and intercession of the saints very early on. Like there's so much evidence for it in the pre-Nicene era alone.
Yeah, I just don't really, I honestly, as a person who was inquiring for orthodoxy and stuff, I could just never get the, perspective of Protestantism and like, let alone believe in it, because it's just really ridiculous. Like when you really look at it face value, it's just like, well, how do you know which one is right? Because based on your Bible alone, it's just like, that's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? when with Orthodoxy, it's more consistent because they have a consistent answer when you have the saints as well. But that's the problem. Protestants don't have that, and they just go by Bible alone with no church interpretation.
Yeah, they have no context. Like, I feel lately I've been trying to be context maxing, because I feel like that's Father Stephen's like superpower, is that he can so easily contextualize different texts, and I mean, it adds so many different layers of meaning to the text.
Yeah, especially when you had a debate with JP, you had to put like a lot of context because he couldn't understand it, and
And he still didn't understand it.
Yeah, and even when you had your opening statements, you know, it's like he didn't even listen at all. He was just like, I don't know,
Correct.
Like,
He did
was,
not.
like, drooling as he's just like the flies are buzzing over him.
Well, you're supposed to be taking notes, because what your opponent says in the opening is what you have to respond to in the rebuttal. So like, you will kind of know what your opponent's going to say, because everybody knows how the debate goes and like what are the most common evidences for these things. But you still have to actually listen to what they say. You don't want to respond to some argument they didn't make.
I think the thing was that he thought he was gonna like be like, well, it's going to be easy debate. It's going to be an instant W chat, you know, like all this ridiculous stuff. And it's just like, and the fact they're also making this thing for Roblox too. Like,
Roblox church. Yeah.
I just like, dude, okay, this is going too far.
That's the true church. It's not Orthodoxy. They're heretical. It's Roblox church. That's the true church.
What's next? They're going to cause like Roblox infallibility. Or
What a disgrace, honestly.
It's getting ridiculous. And even the David Wood thing with Jay Dyer, it's like, dude, Jay Dyer just retired, man. Not in everything, but just in debating like religious stuff. It's like, dude, like you had such an opportunity to debate before. Like now, while the sudden it's a problem now. It's like, it's so weird because Protestants are all of a sudden now up against Orthodoxy. Before it wasn't such a big deal, but now, now they're an enemy, public enemy number one. Now they're teaming up. Now they're saying like, oh, now they're teaming up with Muslims too. It's like, come on, dude. It's like you're just trying to get clout at this point. Are you really going for truth? No, you're just being a grifter and you just want attention. That's like, that's so sad, man. It's just insane.
Yeah, exactly. Good points, man.
Yeah, as an Orthodox inquirer, it's like I can't be Protestant. It's just we just have to pretty much ignore everything.
Yeah, it's faded.
Yeah, but
you are
other than
correct.
that, yeah, thanks for letting me talk. I'm gonna give everyone a chance. I know you got to go, but again, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a good night.
Thank you. You as well, Mason. Look at that. Politeness maxing. Moses, what's up, brother?
Hey, Alex, what's going on, brother?
Not much, just chilling. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain about the David Wood, Jay Dyer situation real fast, man.
Yeah.
Necromancer to necromancer. So there was a time where I was like atheist, more of like an angry ex-Protestant. I believed in God, but I was super angry, you know, just like victim mentality. So I just ran away from it. And then I found a bunch of videos like online over time. It was David Wood and his friend Nabil, you know.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Nabil Qureshi. I like him a lot. I mean, I know he's reposed. Yeah.
Yeah, but I swear to you, man, what's happening now? I mean, I give a lot of credit to David Wood for me becoming a necromancer, you know. So I really am a little bit twisted about this. I want them to debate. So somehow you need to make a debate happen, and so that they can debate, because
that's what this stream was about.
Yeah, we need this to happen, man, because like a lot of those Protestants, you know, they do some good things, you know, and I can't really hate on them.
It'll only make them more powerful debaters if they come to Holy Orthodoxy, like for real. It will really only make them more effective for the true kingdom, right?
Absolutely. Well, anyways, just wanted to point that out. And do what you can to make it happen, brother. You're doing a good job. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Moses. I appreciate that. God bless you.
You as well.
Look at this politeness, maxing. Yeah, that's the point of this stream, is to make it happen. Super chats. We got $2 from Xenia of Alberta. Please explain the different Orthodox groups: ROCOR, OCA, GOC. Follow up, I've been going to GOC church. Bad? Well, if by GOC you mean genuine Orthodox church, then yes, that is bad. If by GOC you mean Greek Orthodox church, then that's totally fine. If you mean like GOARCH, the Greek Archdiocese of North America, then yes, that's good. So ROCOR, OCA, and the Greek diocese, there are different jurisdictions. GOC, or what's commonly known as GOC, the Genuine Orthodox Church, is a schismatic group. So if you are going to a genuine Orthodox Church, do not go there. Go to a canonical Orthodox Church, which would be ROCOR, OCA, the Romanian jurisdiction, the Greek jurisdictions. Yeah, thank you for the donation. $20 from Elias. Thank you. I feel like Gavin's biggest error in his view is not considering the rule of moral capability with anathemas, and that anathemas are against doctrines and individuals willfully going against the church, not ignorant grandmas. Yeah, he cannot make that distinction. I think you're right on the money with this one. Is that we're talking about theological systems and also the people involved in the controversy immediately at the time, and also Orthodox Christians to say, if you go to this view, you're in big trouble. You're in danger, right? We're not talking about people that were Protestant their whole lives. Grandma was Protestant and they don't know anything about theology. And they grew up in a Protestant country. I mean, those people are in danger, but it's not the same standard and the same scrutiny that another person who was raised Orthodox would be under. Shane Paiusios with the 6-month membership. Thank you, Shane. Never existed. That's why they're called dinosaurs and not dinosaurs. That's the best logic I've ever heard. That's a solid argument. I have no counters to this. Haha. It is crazy, though many think God planted dino bones to create confusion. Yeah, I don't see why they can't be overgrown lizards from the pre-flood civilization. I think that's like the Kent Hovind kind of argument. But yeah, I still need to thoroughly go through Saint Seraphim Rose's creation in early man. We got a new membership from Totally Gorgeous. Totally Gorgeous Queen. Leningrad, $5. Joseph Smith didn't believe in the Trinity. He believed in an infinity of Father Gods. Yes, an infinite regress. Thank you for the $5. $5 from Griffin Nistrom. Listening on a pre-workout run. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you for the super chat. And keep up the physical activity. It's good for your brain and your heart. Catechumen, $5. If you had only shown that it was possible and believed that one can invoke a saint in heaven, would that be enough to win the debate with JP? I did. In Enoch 105, in the Jewish tradition, in intertestamental period traditions, in the Psalms, in Job, in Matthew, in St. Paul's writings, when he says, I solemnly charge you before, in the presence of the elect angels, in St. Hippolytus, in the Passion of St. Perpetua. I showed him. Even Origin has it. Sneed Chuckson, $10. So no, I don't think it's enough to. I don't think that would change his mind. Sneed Chuckson, $10. David, I don't like debating topics I haven't studied. You've been doing apologetics for how many decades and haven't studied Christian theology or history at all? That's exactly the problem. That's a good point. That's a confession. You haven't studied Christian theology or which church is the true one? You don't know what Christians believe or stand for? How can you be a Christian apologist when you haven't studied these things? Yikes. Good point. 15 shekels from Arborg. Alex, thank you for this amazing stream. I now have a rough idea of what to read. We love Israel. The new Israel, before I get in trouble with Father Stephen. Dylan's Law, $5. Does Orthodoxy have what Protestants would call secondary and tertiary issues? There are some aspects where we have a range of permissible views that are not dogmatic, like the toll houses, for example. You have freedom to believe a certain range of views that are set out by the Holy Fathers. Areas of theology that we can disagree, but it's not salvific. Yeah. Certain aspects of eschatology and the soul after death. There are probably certain interpretations of scripture that are acceptable, like Saint Theophylact, I think is like the gold standard. But of course, there's like Saint John Chrysostom and the dogmas of the councils. for sure. Catechumen, $5. Someone has to make a video clipping together JP's massive Cope tour he's on right now on 20 different Protestant channels after getting obliterated. I think that would make for a fun compilation if somebody has the wherewithal to do it. That's a good idea. Thank you for the donation. Leningrad, $5. If you get ordained in Roblox or Minecraft, are you the bishop or is your avatar actually the bishop? Well, they reject icon veneration, so the ordination would not pass from the image to the thing depicted or to the prototype, right? So it would, in their view, I think they would be limited to just the avatar and not the actual person. Another membership from Hassel, thank you. $20 from Troy. All your base belong to us just because you are doing the work. Thanks, Alex. Is this referring to David Wood? I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you for the donation, Troy. And yes, I am trying to put in the work. I'm trying to make sure it's like good quality stuff also that goes out there. So right now I'm kind of focusing on the debates. Yeah, remember, in a few days, guys, on the 18th, I'm debating Sam Farag on MTD. So check in for that. I think that will be a pretty straightforward one for us. So, throwaway account, $10. Please pray for my girlfriend. She's converting to Orthodoxy from Islam, and her family are really bad, and I'm scared for her. Also, David Wood asks for a debate after Dyer retires. How typical. Yeah. Say a quick prayer for the girlfriend of throwaway account. Thank you for the donation. You heard it, guys. Pray for her. That's not an easy thing to convert from Islam. I think sometimes that puts your life in peril, like for real. For real, for real. 7 months from Octavian. I think Jonathan should have pushed Gavin a little more on Protestant evangelism in Orthodox countries. It would expose that they are more exclusive. 100%. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I think he planned out the interaction well, but in hindsight, that I think I agree. I too would like him to have seen. I would have liked to have seen him push on that a little more. That's a good point. Thank you for the 7 months membership. Xenia of Alberta, $5. This is all new to me, Alex. Thank you. I'm learning. A non-denom background. It's a genuine Orthodox church. It's the closest Ortho church to me, 2 hours away. Yeah, genuine Orthodox church is schismatic. You do not want to go there. I am sorry, because I'm assuming you're from Alberta and that you probably don't have Orthodox churches. I think there's kind of a famous Romanian parish somewhere over there. Like, I think that might be the first Romanian parish in Canada is in Alberta, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, genuine Orthodox church is not a canonical Orthodox church, despite the name genuine Orthodox church. They are schismatic old calendarists. So just so you know, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Cool Barracuda, $5. Not knowing Christianity, but debating Islam smells similar to catechumen/inquirers wanting to debate without a blessing. Am I wrong? No, I don't think you're wrong. It is pretty similar to that. Yeah, this is something I've been saying from the beginning. Like, look, the best way to debate other positions, like, first of all, you have to know yours really well. Because if you know why those things are there, like why the things you believe are there, you can ask the same question, like structural questions of someone else, right? So, but why do you believe in inherited guilt? We don't, because that creates big problems that necessitate things like the Immaculate Conception. Big problems that necessitate things like a transactional atonement. Right? So, yeah, there are downstream effects. So, guys, thank you so much for the stream. Callers in the chat who just joined after the super chats, you're going to have to call in next time. I'm sorry. I got to be a little bit more strict about my streaming schedules, but I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate the super chats. So this was a good learning experience tonight. We got a lot out of it. We talked about Gavin Ortlund and Jonathan Pageau. We talked about David Wood and JP. Bring on Metaphysics Mike of all people. So God bless you guys. Love you guys. I'm going to send you guys to Nikolai's stream at this time. So have a good one. God bless. At the very least, I will see you guys on Thursday on Modern Day Debates. If not, no, tomorrow on Cleve's channel, I will be co-hosting with Cleve on his. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. possibly Wednesday. I might need it to prepare for Thursday. But I'll see you guys tomorrow and Thursday for the debate. God bless you guys. Bye-bye. So long. Love you. End stream. And